Howdy everyone, Nimby here. Gonna continue some tying today. I'm gonna get some humpies done up today. I'm gonna start with the red humpies. We might change the color up. Reds are my favorite though. Just getting my rest of my stream up here. There we go. Beauty. Alright, so we're gonna start off with some red thread. Still got floof hair all over me from the last flies. So we want to start our thread actually exactly halfway, which is a little bit of an odd place to start your thread for the most part. And we're going to do a thread base all the way back in red. You can tie these in black or even white thread if you wanted to, but I think it's generally better to match the color that you're doing the humpy with the color of your thread. So if anything shows through, you're going to have a cleaner looking fly. You can also just use your thread specifically for this fly. You don't need to use floss like we're going to be using. You can definitely just use your thread. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fairly low material list. I'm making a couple substitutions again because I can't find my moose. I got my moose mane, but it's just way too big for little flies like this. Moose body hair is generally what you'd use for the tail on these. I'm actually going to sub that out. And traditionally, a lot of people, like a lot of tires, are just going to use the deer hair for the tail as well as the hump and everything else. I'm going to sub that out for some brown bear, actually. It's not a floating fur like the moose is, but it's coarse, and I think it'll go really good with the red color theme on it. You can see it's a very coarse hair, so it makes a really good tailing material. It's almost like just straight up guard hair. There is an under fur to it, but we're after the guard hairs. And I'm going to quickly stack the tails. If the material you're pulling out is relatively straight, you don't need to worry about that. There's a little bit on the personal preference side of things, but I would like to get some nice straight tails out of it. Hey Waz, welcome back in, mate. We're going to do up some humpies. I got some brown bear here we're going to use for the tail. There's a few kind of really wonky fibers in here. I'm just going to peel out because those aren't going to stack well at all. So we'll just get rid of those. I'm going to clean this first because it's got a lot of, not just under hair, but just, it's a dirty fur. All sorts of stuff in it. I took a little bit more than I thought I'd need because I'm expecting to have to clean this out a good bit and get rid of some of the shorter stuff. That's what we're left with. There's still some really kind of wonky bent ends on that, so they're gonna come out. We'll see what we look like when we stack it. Pop it in the stacker here. Boop. In you go. Wow, why is my exposure just like all over the map here? 1 second. I know it's getting all bright on you guys. I'm just trying to adjust it. Seeing if it'll reset because It's almost maxed out on me for as low. I got it like minus 20. No idea why that's so bright. 1 second. Okay, that looks still bright, but it's reasonable. Okay, we can get by with that. I'm not sure why that's just like torch and bright. I do have a lot of light coming in on the windows here, so it might just be the sun acting up with the sensor on it. It's probably my side window that's open. Actually, I should shut that. I just can't turn it down anymore. It's maxed right out. Just the front one, honey. I think it's that one. It's a pretty slippy fur, so I'm guessing this should stack fairly well if it isn't just all cattywampus. We're gonna give it a try here. Didn't come out in the stack very well, but we'll see what we get. Okay. Well, we'll make it work. I'll clean that up. I got 2 broken fibers I gotta pull out there. Actually, that's not too bad. That's kind of the color and shape I was going for. I wanted those kind of darker tips and the red there, so I think that'll actually work pretty well. We'll try it on a couple anyway. I might switch back to deer hair, but I like a stiff tail on this. Okay, so tail length is going to be a good length, so we're going to go with almost just a little bit shorter than the shank length on it. Now sink it down. And we'll do a soft wrap first just to keep it in place. One more. We're using some red uni. Is it 6/0 or 8/0? It's might be 6. Yeah, 6/0 in red. We're going to be torquing down on a lot of deer hair, and 8/0 has a tendency to kind of eat through it. Yeah, this is almost as slippery as squirrel. I forgot how slippy this stuff can be. Don't tie with it all that often. It is really neat, robust hair though, that's for sure. Still a few broken fibers in there. Just gonna grab some of the more obvious outliers here. There we go. That's not too bad. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not a showcase fly. This is a workhorse fly for sure. I'm gonna bind back, and we want to stop this at the halfway point. So I'm gonna lift this up and find it where we started our thread there, and I'm gonna cut them off kind of abruptly right there. And we're gonna build up our body for the hump partially with this tail material, and then with the hump material, just like so. And unlike most flies, you do want to have a kind of an abrupt stop there. Normally you want to have a taper and all that good stuff. But in this case, we want to actually have an abrupt stop because that's where our hump is going to end and our front half is going to begin. Now I'm just going to build the thread up a little bit here, nothing crazy, just enough to stop that from letting go. There we go. And this is why you can get away with just using your red thread, because you'll build up enough of a thread body on that to create the under color for your Humpy. We are going to be tying in a, well, I'll actually do that right now. We'll be tying in some red uni-floss here. Single strand. Feel free to deal with the 4-strander if that's what you got. That'd be the traditional floss. Find the single strand is just so much easier to work with. It doesn't lay quite as flat as the 4-strand, I will say that, and with the 4-strand you have the ability to separate it if you're doing smaller flies. So you can separate into smaller. But this is a completely unnecessary step here. I am doing this so I can get a nice pop of red. This is going to be a much more, well, royal, a royal red color than what we would have if we just went with the thread. It's a lot more dull. But it'll give a really nice good pop of red color underneath there. Alright, so the next part is going to be the whitetail. In this case, we're just using some, this is Appalachia whitetail. Okay. Yeah, so this is Appalachia whitetail. We're going to be cutting and stacking this as well. This type of fly, or this fly specifically, in a lot of books, including the one I have in front of me here, we're not tying by the book, but we're just going through the book for the fly patterns. It is classed as a hard fly, or hard to moderate, or to moderate hard. If you follow all the steps for it, it's not really a hard fly. The hardest part is this part, is getting the right amount of deer hair, and it's a feel thing. It really depends on the hair that you're using, how it covers the fly. A little more is obviously better than a little too little, or you're not going to cover it properly. There's a lot of different aspects to how much hair you need, and it's not something I can really tell you because it's going to depend on the hair you're using and the size of the hook and a lot of things. So it's a trial and error. Once you tie one, you'll know, okay, I got to add just a little more. I had a little too much there. I got to take some out. But yeah, after you do one or two, you should really have a good kind of handle on if you had enough the first time. But what I go with is, for a good size humpy like this, it's almost a full pencil, just a little under what we would consider a pencil to be. So holding this in my fingers without completely crushing it, it feels like I'm holding a pencil, like about that thickness. Of course, it's kind of gone all cattywampus on me, but so it feels like I'm holding a pencil, a little bit less, so maybe about like 80% of a pencil to me, and that's normally kind of right on the money. This one here, the specific whitetail is very, very dirty as far as the underfur. You can see how much underfur it has. So that means it was harvested. It's not a bad thing. It just means it was harvested during the winter, which generally gives you much nicer, fuller, cleaner hair otherwise. You just have to deal with the underfur. If you have a summer harvest or like a ranch harvest, so they're actually growing up in the farm, there's nothing wrong with that. You'll just lot less underfur on them, because of course they shed all that during the summer. The underfur is useful too. You can keep it, put it aside, and make some really good dubbing out of it. It really dubs well. So if you are looking for some free or just different dubbing material to try out, It works really well for dubbing like in tight areas where you want something to compress well. So in the front of like a beadhead nymph, that kind of thing. I'm pulling all these short guys out too because those aren't going to work for us. We need to have long fibers here that we can fold over. There we go. So now we're going to stack this and clean it a second time after we stack it. We want this to be really clean because we want the hair to move while we're doing our bending and humping with the humpy, creating the hump. Hi. So that's going to go into our stacker. Going to give it a little bangy bang bang. And hopefully we end up with a good chunk of hair that we can use without having to add more or take a bunch out. I do have a feeling I am going to have to take out a bunch of short guys because I can see quite a few in there. Which is fine. I was kind of planning for that with the amount I cut off. Again, this is why your mileage will vary depending on the type of deer you're cutting it off of. Some deer is perfect kind of just right off. You can just cut it right off the hide. There's very little under fur. It's very straight and you can just slap it right on there. But not in my case this time. Hey Yoshi, good to have you in, mate. Making up some humpies today. Hopefully you're having a good day, man. Appreciate you dropping in. Okay, so we're going to open up our hackle stacker here. See how we did. Good. Now, if you haven't cleaned your fur enough, you'll see there's a handful of like little wispy fibers here. You'll want to get those out. That's an indication of how much you had to clean or not. A lot of times they'll slide forward. And you just want to grab that in your fingers, pull it out. Keep those tips bound in nice and good on your fingers. And then you figure out where you put your comb down because you forgot. There you go. Yeah. Good, I'm glad, man. One day at a time, mate. Get better every day. See, we're still getting, even though we cleaned it out really good, we're still getting a lot of hair out of that. We want to get rid of that because we want the hair to slip and move. Okay, I don't see too many short guys in there. So now what I'm going to do is grab it kind of mid go here so we can get rid of the short ones up front because they're not going to do us any good. So do that. We'll just tap it. You want to do this sparingly because every time you tap it up and down, you're adding. You don't want to stroke it like I'm doing. Every time you do that, you're adding static to it, which is going to, depending on the time of year in your home that you're tying in, static's not a fun thing to battle, so you want to try and limit that. Then we want to pack it kind of like we're packing a snowball. There we go. Good deal. All right. Okay, we want to have this measured out where we got to tie in. You basically do two measurements. So the first measurement is from this side. So you can see what you're doing. You want to have that going just past. See, there's another short one that would have fallen out anyway. If they fall out as you're tying in, don't worry about it. You got lots of time to clean it up. So you just want to have it going, and there's the end of the tail. I know it's just kind of just in frame. You want to have this going just past the tail. A little bit, because as you do your turn up, you're going to lose about a bodkin width or so when you're tying it down. So you want to have it just a little bit above that. Okay, and then we want to cut it off. We're going to be cutting it right there. Right by the eye. And that should give us roughly the exact length that we want. And this is going to be messy. There's nothing clean and easy about deer hair, unfortunately. I'm going to look like I'm covered in confetti by the time we're done tying a bunch of these, but that is what it is. Okay, I'm going to transfer this over. Now I'm grabbing it, including the eye on the hook there, okay? And I'm just going to gently, and I mean gently, brush this out because I want to get, again, I want to get any of these short guys out. And if you have longer, nicer deer hair, this will be, less and less of a process every time. Okay. Now I can lift it up. There wasn't too many there. Again, you can do the flippy flip. Okay, so now we got our nice stack of deer hair. We're gonna move this back. And just looking at that, I think I actually have just a little bit much on there. So I'm gonna attempt to get a little bit out of there, but not a lot. And I'll just throw that back in the stacker. How's it going? So this is where you kind of judge the amount that you need. So I'm going to remove that much from the stack. And it's just going to go back into the stacker. If we get lucky, they'll work a second time. If they don't, it's not a big deal. So again, I just like feeling this in my fingers, and through tying numbers of these, I can feel that I got the right amount. There's no way that I know how to explain that otherwise. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that cutoff point that we have, we're going to move it right back to this halfway mark here. Okay. And we're going to tie that in. And we're going to do a light wrap. Two light wraps. We're not putting any more pressure than what the bobbin holder has. And we're going to sink that down just a little bit. Not quite all the way around. We're going to sink it down just a bit on this end. The rest of it's going to stay up. I'm just going to lightly wrap this. It's going to stop any of those shorter fibers from spewing out. We're going to go all the way around here. Again, these are just light wraps. You can see I'm barely making marks on this. And it's to avoid what's happening up at the front here. We're going to slowly bring this forward. Yeah. Okay, once we get up to the front here, I'm going to cut through the middle. I'm cutting through the middle of that clump and then around. And I'm going to go once around closer and then cut through the middle again. And under and up. And I'm just going to bring that forward. Okay. This is the part that a lot of tyers struggle with. If you go and just manhandle this down, what you're going to end up getting is this is going to flare, and it's going to be really hard to tie in. So now that we got it partially down, we're going to be doing our wing from 1/3 to the front. So that's why this is stopping at a half right here. So from 1/3, which is about here, to there, that's where our wing area is going to be. So that's going to stay the way it is. We're going to start just a little bit up from that ledge, come back down, and then we're going to work our way all the way back. And now I'm doing moderate to firm wraps. This is where we're going to compress it down. The old thread's going to get loose, and that's fine. The new thread that we're wrapping on now, and you want to be careful not to cut the deer hair. But if you're working your way back, it should kind of transfer that compression as you go back. And then just looser as you get the last couple wraps here. So again, you don't cut through too many fibers. Okay, now we're going to go back again. And on our second round now, what we're concentrating more on is just evening everything out, getting those loose wraps bound down you should end up with a little red sausage. Now the traditional pattern, you would just keep doing that once or twice more until you have a nice body. What we're going to do is we're going to be using that red floss instead. Gives you a much nicer, cleaner body. If you don't have red floss, you just don't want to use floss, feel free to just throw in some red yarn, whatever you got kicking around is more than fine. There. Just gonna, any larger pieces, just trim them out. The floss will capture the majority of everything in there, but you just want to make your work a little easier. There's no point in making it harder on yourself. Okay, actually, just to make life easier on myself, I'm gonna throw a half it or 2 half hitches in there. We'll move the bobbin out of the way, and we'll get that body covered up with the floss here, and that'll make a really beautiful, nice, bright crimson body. And then we'll do the piece de resistance and fold that forward and make a set of wings out of it. I would definitely class this as a harder fly to tie and not a beginner fly, but if you can get these few steps in and just practice at it, it doesn't take terribly long to get that learning curve. The biggest thing with this fly that a lot of people fight with is a lot of these steps are kind of counterintuitive. They're not the same as many other patterns that you're going to tie. I'm trying to be fairly tight here and overlapping because I'm only going to do one wrap because we're just really doing this for that extra bright coachman underbelly. And this is where you get the fatness of the humpy in, is by tying these two pieces in together right here. And the front of the fly is going to be nice and thin for the hackle, or thinner compared to this anyway. And if you really want, or it's just having trouble covering, you can definitely go back and forth and do a 3-stage over there. I'm going to be bringing this up to the 3rd mark where I'm going to tie it off. Bobbin is a little on the loose side. I had it cranked up because the Semperfly cartridges are a little bit smaller than these guys. Come on, don't come out of the vise on me now. There you go. You can see how that's not really necessary. You could definitely skip that and make do just fine with the thread. It just adds that little extra bit of shine, pop, pizzazz, whatever you want to call it. Makes it look fancy. Okay. Excuse me. Alright, more tea. More tea. There we are. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Wonderful midweek. Get some humpies tied up. Okay, this part can be a little bit annoying, trying to separate the top from the tail, but since they're 2 different lengths, as long as you're just grabbing the tips up here and be gentle with it. I mean, you're not trying to rip it off or anything, but as you go, most of that tail material really should stay back. I find if I use my finger and just kind of work it, you can get it to have that nice kind of beetle butt round shape that we're all looking for in a humpy. And this is where we want to keep it up on top. You're gonna want to feel like you need to wrap it around the body, but it'll do that itself if you got the right amount of deer hair on there. It'll do it himself. So the main thing is we don't want to have the tail fibers here caught up in here. Because one, it'll look bad, and two, it's not a tail anymore. If it's up here, it's back material. Okay. So again, I don't want, like on your side, thankfully I got the camera, but normally it's a bit harder to see your side of the fly, of course, because I'm looking at my side of the fly. We want to keep that up, so we're going to keep it up by doing a soft wrap. And I'm going to lean it towards myself a bit here as I tighten that. I'm already getting a few fibers down here that are being toots. Come on now. There we go. So the most important thing with the soft wrap is you're ending your thread where you started your thread, okay? You don't want to have your thread jumping ahead on you. I really need to tighten this bow. Okay, I'm just going to tighten down on that briefly. And about 3 wraps to hold it in place there. That's all you need. You can somewhat tighten this by pulling up on your wing, but you risk tearing it. So in a lot of cases, you're better off not to. Okay, how'd we do? We want to have a nice pill shape with red underneath, so we're good. Again, yeah, I don't know why it keeps wanting to slide on your guys' side. If it is going to slide, it does typically slide on that side because of the way that the thread is spinning. And I try to compensate that, like I said, by pulling slightly towards myself. But that's okay. We're good. I'm okay with that. And we're going to get a few breaking off. Like you see, one's already broken there. Don't worry about the broken ones. You can clean those up at the end because they will break off. And if you do get a little bit overlap like that, you can definitely just go in with some tweezers. You don't need a whole lot showing on the belly. You just want to have that red capsulation there. You can see, yeah, I'm probably going to take out about 3 or 4 fibers on that side just so it'll match nice. And a nice solid cap like that, so it looks like a little beetle basically. And that's kind of the hard part. That's the part that everyone struggles with right there. Okay, 2 more things, or there's going to be more than 2, but the next thing that we need to worry about once we get to this point is the 2 landing spots for your hackle. So this is going to be a dual hackle fly. Oh, I did forget to grab my hackle out, but we'll get to that in a second here. For the 2 hackle locations in front and behind the wing, here and down here, the 2 important things with both of those, we're going to build those now, is you want to keep them flat. So you want them to be as horizontal as you can get them. You don't want to have them tapering down towards the wing, or if you're making your thread dam here, tapering towards the eye on an angle, because then your hackle is going to slide forward, and that'll change the angle that you're wrapping your hackle on, and it'll just look sloppy and give you a headache. So you don't want headaches. You want a nice, easy tying experience. Okay, so we're going to pull this back just gently with our fingers. We're not reefing on it. We're more applying it back. And this is going to take a good amount of wraps. You got to kind of be patient here because there's a lot of torque and a lot of force on that deer hair wanting to go forward. So you're going to have to build up a good little thread down here. You're going to get a few fibers more than likely that are going to get trapped in there. Like I got 2 little guys. Once you get a decent thread down, then just work your thread back up. And you want to stop. Again, another thing that new tires really suffer with this pattern is crowding the head, because it's just so easy for all this material to be pushing you forward until you end up with nothing left. So always leave yourself at least a bobbin width of bare shank up front there to tie your head off in. Don't, just stay away from it. It can be hard, but just keep it all back. So what I want to do here is I want to keep building that up. I'm not going to worry about getting it completely built up because we still got to cross hatch this. But by the time we get to the hackle part, I want to make sure that is built up. Okay. Don't worry too much about these little ones. You're going to get the odd. You can see the odd ones sticking out left or right or too high. Sometimes they'll find a little happy place and they'll just go right into where they need to be. Other times they won't. If they don't, then tear them out after. If they do, great, they can stay. Kind of like having an unruly 5-year-old. It's like, you know, if you can behave yourself, you can stay and watch the movie. If you can't, you're going to go sit in the corner, which is the trash bin. Okay, there's a number of ways to separate these. I generally find the easiest thing is just to hold your body. I'm going to do this completely. I wonder if I can do it this way towards the camera. I'll try. Hold it like this, and then you use your eye and go right along the fly so you get an even cut. And you're just going to push it apart like that. It doesn't have to be exact. You just want to have a good amount, as even as you can get on either side like that. And you're not trying to separate it so much in 2 lumps at this point. By just pushing it in like that, you're creating a little divot that the thread can go into. And that will take care of it. You don't really need to torque on that too much and have it completely separated. Your thread's going to do the work for you. With the previous fly that we did, I was talking about how you don't need to do the figure 8. Well, in this one, you do, because these have to be separated, and they're not going to separate themselves. They're going to want to stick together. So I put my thread through there, and I'm going to pull forward. This isn't going to look perfect at first, because we're going to do several rounds to get this to go. So it's going to be pointing a little bit more one direction than the other, but when we do the other side, it's going to straighten it back out. You do have to trust the process a little bit. Make sure your thread is in the right locations and not binding something down that it shouldn't be. And then just keep moderately tight wraps for each one of these. And then do 2 wraps. In this case, I'm going to be behind. And again, that's going to hold the tension that we just put in the front. Now I'm going to use this. And again, you can generally use your thread to do all this. You don't really need to touch the fibers, but sometimes it gets funky and doesn't want to do what you want to do. But the most important thing is you want to get all those fibers that should be on the left side or right side in the left or right side for each one of these wraps. And then the thread should do the rest of the work for you. There we go. There, and it's already starting to come back into position. There we go, that's much better. Okay, and again, we're going to get our, without binding anything else down, 2 to 3 wraps to hold that tension in. You can see we got a nice separation there now. It really doesn't have to be any more pronounced than that. It is supposed to be a bit of a messy, it's a messy, elegant fly all at the same time, where everything's symmetrical and nice, but it does have a lot of poof and craziness to it, which is really what drives the trout nuts. So that's a pretty good separated, even head on a humpy. I'm happy with that. It looks good. Like if you have it flat like this, the butt's a little saggy. I probably could have pushed that ahead more when I was tying it in, but overall it's good. I'm not gonna fuss with it too much. But yeah, if you have it right, when you have the fly flat like this, the 2 top bits should be centered, and then when you have it the other direction, like here, they should be evenly spaced apart, and you should have a little opening in the middle. That's really all you're looking for. The rest of it's going to fall in place once we get all the hackle in. It's going to bury itself in there. Now, whether you want the horns or wings or whatever you want to call them, facing forward or facing back is up to you. I like to preen them forward for this part as we're doing the hackle, and then preen them back once we get to that spot. And again, like I'm getting a few that are going to break off. That's going to happen, so we're just going to deal with those after once we get all the hackle tied in. I forgot to pull my hackle out, so you'll have to excuse me for a second while I dig that out of the drawers. I think it's right on top here, so we should be good. Hey Shark, how's it going, man? Doing some humpies up. I know you like humpies. Thank you. I apologize, guys. I'm going to have to move the camera here for a second. Huh. Did I already pull it out and just forgot? Oh, I did too. My apologies, I did actually have it out. It was just on my other table. Yeah, the red's a great color for this. Let's get you back in frame. I look focused, you guys. I think we're okay. Might be able to help a little bit too close. Call that good. All right. Sorry, I had it covered in deer hair. What are you gonna do? So this is Rise Form Hackle from Magpie Materials. Shout out for Stefan. If you guys are looking for good materials at a really reasonable price, he has a lot. I don't necessarily agree with every single thing in his catalog, but there's a lot there that is top notch for really reasonable pricing. And the dude is just a good dude. I do not have a problem supporting his business. Okay, so we're tying this on a what are we on, a 10, which is a little bit on the big side for these, but I normally tie on the big side for the camera just because it shows up better with focus and everything. So for a 10, I'm gonna try this guy out and we'll see how we're sitting with the red, and then we'll get the, we're gonna use two hackles here. We're gonna use a red and a you might be a hair or too big. Let's just get you up here. So one trick you can use is use your the end of your bobbin, pull your hackle down, and if it touches just a little bit past the end of your bobbin, then you can use that as your angle gauge to see what angle you're going to be sitting on in the water. So yeah, actually that's going to work out quite well. That'll work out fine. So when this is sitting in the water, it's going to be sitting on that angle, and the hook will either be just above the meniscus of the water or just under the water. Either one's fine. It's not an exact science because it's going to get beat up and bitten by fish and stuff, so there's many different things that'll happen to it. Do the same with our grizzly. Oh, I went and moved my bobbin on me. But you're just using that as kind of a stop gauge. So you can get roughly the angle that you're looking for. And the grizzly's almost always a hair shorter, so yeah, that'll work. Now if you're dealing with longer capes and stuff like this, an easy way to tell where your webbing kind of ends and where the hackle begins is to pull it down like that. You can see there that there's a point where it stops going out horizontally and starts going more vertical again. Right about here. That's where the web stops, and that's where we want to start our hackle off. You can tie into the web, but it's not going to give you any real decent flotation. You can definitely save these end pieces. These make excellent tailing material for nymphs or legs. You don't need to throw that away. It has a lot of uses that you can save it for. Okay, so there's our grizzly hackle prep. We're going to do the same thing with our red now. And And this one does have a little kink in the racus there, doesn't it? I don't think it's going to give us any problems. So same thing, I'm just going to gently pull down here. I can kind of tell just by looking at it and using this cable where it's roughly going to be. You can see here we're still going fairly horizontal, and right here it just starts going vertical. That's where the web ends, and that's where we're going to get a good hackle. Every feather's going to be different, every cape's going to be different. So you can't really just say measure up 2 inches or 3 inches or whatever. It's a natural material. Every bird's different. Every part of the bird's different. Even in the same part, a second feather right next to it could be way webbier than the other. Alright. So I'm going to tie in the grizzly here first. Let's see which one do I want to wrap first. Yeah, I'll go grizzly. I'll wrap the red first. I'm going to be pulling off a little bit more on the top side than the bottom. Not a lot. 5 or 6 fibers. Just enough, you can see there. Top's a little shorter than the front. That'll give me about half a wrap or so before the fibers start sticking out on the underside and give me a cleaner first wrap, so I'm not dealing with as much stuff sticking around. What I'm doing is I'm compressing the racus with the hemostats. They just have some teeth on them, nothing crazy. We've got some regular little pliers that'll work fine too. And you won't be able to see it probably on the camera, but it'll leave little teeth marks in the racus. We're going to be tying it in, and that'll act almost like Velcro. It'll help hold it in place so it doesn't slide when I'm pulling it out. Because the racus is going to be quite slippy. The other option that you can do there is you can leave a little bit of the barbs and just cut it with your scissors, and then the barbs will again act as a Velcro and hold it in. And actually I think I'll do that on the red one just so you can see the two different methods there. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, and the next one, so this one here, we'll do that like we said, we'll cut the barbs instead of plucking them off. I'm going to cut a little bit more on the upper side than the bottom. Biggest thing there is you just want to be careful not to cut your racus, obviously, or to skim it or scar it. So now what we have, I'm just going to pull this out a little bit more so you guys can see it than it's actually necessary. But now you can see we got those little bits sticking out, and the thread will catch those and stop it from pulling out. It gives you a much more secure hackle. Doesn't cost you anything. Takes a few seconds for that step, but especially when you're a new tire and you're not really used to how much tension and force to put on these things, it can definitely help you with some frustration, that's for sure. Okay, I do want to put a few more wraps up front here because like I was saying earlier, is we want to keep this kind of as flat as we can get it right here, and then up ahead here for this portion. So I'm going to pull the wings back a bit. We'll put them back in a second. Just want to see how we're sitting up here. Yeah, so I need to add a few more wraps. You can feel it with your body cam more than you can see it. If it's pointing ahead too much, it'll slide forward and your hackle will actually point forward when you're trying to tie it off. It just becomes a real pain. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to push these guys forward again, just so they'll be out of our way. You see they're fairly flexible, and you do want to be careful how often you're flexing them back and forth because they will break, but it takes a bit, so just be gentle with them. Now I'll take my hackle here, the one I'm going to be wrapping, leaving the other one back just so it's easier on myself, and I'll bend it a bit. You can feel it on the rachis there. I'm just gently bending it. Again, you don't want to do too much or it can snap on you. But you want to have it about a 90 degree to the hook there, see? Not necessary, but it'll make your first wrap all that much easier. I'm going to go out on a limb and try this. Try my rotary hackle. Actually, you know, no. I'm not going to this time. I'm just going to stick with the regular old little hackle plier here. I have a love-hate relationship with my rotary hackle plier. It works, but we'll leave that loosely as a working term. Alright, so now this first wrap here that I'm doing right now is going to be that bare rachis that we cleared off. So up until here, it's just bare rachis, so there's no other fibers sticking out. That'll give me a nice, clean first wrap. And I want to get 2 wraps kind of right beside each other, right by where the humpy butt connects, so I can get a nice bristly thing there. Hackle. Okay, and we want to get at least 3 wraps behind, if not 4. 3 is generally fine, and then 2 in the front. When you're going from front to back, which is what we're doing right now, we want to pull these wings back again. So this is why you do want to be careful how often you're pulling them back and forth, because there's a few steps where you're going to have to do that. And I want to get that wrap right behind it, just like we do with the thread. It almost builds up a thread dam, but it also holds them into position and allows me to get the next wrap in there nice and tight. Okay, and I'm actually going to be able to get 3 in the front here, which will go just fine. Beauty. Okay. If I'm going to get a little more than anything, I personally prefer more of the red. So an extra wrap or 2 of the red than the grizzly. 100% personal preference. There, it's trapped in now. It's not going to let go. We'll get 3 wraps in front of it to lock it in. Okay, and then one more time. Don't need to do this twice, but I always do. Probably insecurities from my younger tying days, but that is the way I'd go about it. Okay, and then 2 half hitches. If you're having anything stick out like this guy right here, you see that one fiber? When I do my half hitch, I'm going to be pushing this back. I hope so. In like a fun, you're going to go for a ride kind of way. There we go. And one more. I'm just pushing that hackle back just a bit as I get these 2 set. Okay. Don't have to go crazy with the knots. That's really just holding the tension in place. It's not finishing the head off. Thanks, Muddy. No worries. Always a pleasure, mate. Thanks for stopping in. Okay, and when we're cutting this off, we're going to open our scissors. You can see they're just a slit, so we just have a little V notch in the scissors. I don't even need to hold on to the thing. Hold on to the deal there. And I'm just going to slide this up. Not quite against the hook, but close, and then just with the tension, and it should just pop it for us. There we go. Now the reason we want to do it that way is if any cutting that I'm going to do with the scissors like this, anything that gets caught in there is going to get cut. If I have it on an angle like that, the only thing that's going to cut is what I'm pulling tension on, in this case the rachis. So it's only going to cut the hackle and not the rest of the fibers sticking around. It'll run into them, mind you, but it's not going to actually cut them off. Okay, so we'll do the next one here now, and then we'll clean it up and we'll have ourselves a humpy. Like I said, I don't mind this one being shorter at all. Again, we're going to gently press it into place. And this is kind of where some of the magic comes out on this fly. It's just like with an Adams, where you mix these two, you mix a grizzly and a red hackle together, and it just gives it this amazing buggy look that you can only get with grizzly and red hackle. And a lot of people will mix these together and just move it back and forth as you're going here. It'll find its little happy home. But a lot of people will tie these together at the same time. I've never found that really worked well with me because I can control this. If you're in a hurry, I guess, or production tying, I could see some benefit to that, but I mean, I have way more control over the placement, where it's going to land, if it's twisting, if they're separated. So now we got 3 in the back now. This one is a little bit shorter than the one we had before, so we're probably only going to get our 2 in the front, but that's fine. Okay, again, I'm going to push these back just a hair. And I'm going to get this guy right up front there. It really is. Like I said, I wish it was a little easier to tie for the new tires because it's such a fun pattern. But I will admit that it definitely has its difficulties. It's not that you can't tie it, but you're just going to make a whole bunch of ugly ones before you make a pretty one. The nice thing about these flies, though, is the uglier they get as you're fishing them, the more effective they are. I don't know why. It's the same thing with, no, you don't need any floating on these. They float like a cork. Sorry, brain shut off for a second there. The uglier they get and the more beat up they get, because the back will get torn up by the fish's teeth. It's gonna start, the wings will get all beat up, the hackle will come apart a bit, and like the more beat up they get, the better they work. Yeah, they're like little cork boats. It'll set you even higher in the water. I mean, if you're really worried about that kind of thing, that's where you want to use bucktail or moose or something different for the back tail. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm gonna get my half hitch going here. And again, we got 1 or 2 fibers sticking forward. That's nothing to worry about. We're gonna push it up. Sometimes it's a lot on my brain to try and YouTube and conversate and tie and teach and everything all at the same time. And sometimes part of that brain shuts off and goes, give me a minute. But it's all good. I'm sure everyone understands. Okay, so we got our 3 half hitches there. I'll be safe to take off that hackle now. So same procedure as last time. I'd really need to sharpen these guys. They're on the dull side from cutting all that GSP thread. And if you're using GSP thread, get yourself a razor. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's gonna be buoyant like a cork. And that's why these guys are great. Like if you have moving water, like in a creek or something, these guys are money for that kind of situation. Because it can get underneath the water, it can be like a whole lot of different things, and it'll still pop up like a cork, even in like rapidy water. Okay, where's my half hitch? There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna half hitch it first before I clean it up. And there's not like a lot to clean up. I just want to clean up a few fibers on the one side that broke. And you're gonna get broken fibers. It's just gonna happen, unless you have some crazy, wicked deer hair. But yeah, really happy with that guy. My camera's a little close. We'll back it up there. Whip finish. There we are. So again, you can definitely tie these in black thread, orange thread, white thread, and then just color it. I don't really see any real benefit to doing that. When the color for the color you're going to use. Chartreuse is another really popular one. Oop. Come on, buddy. Hold on. I'm going to push those back just a little bit. I don't want to catch more fiber in. Just for now. I'll get the whip finish in. Um, yeah, chartreuse is a really common one. I really like the burnt orange, like late summer, fall is a great color. The red is really good to just absolutely tick off the brook trout. This is an absolute brook trout slayer in streams and stuff. Seriously, man, just come on, rap with me. Come on, man, rap with me now. This is called a whip finish. So I'm doing it's the exact same as a half hitch. I'm just doing them over and over again. Every round around it is another half hitch. Kind of like a slip knot. So that's the equivalent of 3 knots there with the 3 rotations. It's the exact same knot I was doing with the other tool earlier, it just does them sequentially over and over. And then what I want to do is I want to hold my bobbin with some tension on it. Put my finger on the end here so I don't lose my thread if it breaks. And just give it a little tug the opposite direction that I tie the fly in. You can feel it tighten up, so what that's going to do is just like when you're tightening a knot tied around a post or something, it's going to suck that up and bind it. That's a step a lot of people miss. It's not required whatsoever because that knot is knotted. It just really helps to suck everything down and keep that tension in place. It's more important for a fly like this where you do have tension up front in a hackle or something like a wing where you want to keep that tension. It's not as important for something like a nymph or something where you don't have a lot of relying on the tension up front. Okay, so I can cut that off here. And we'll start cleaning up those few little fibers underneath. That broke off here. This is another reason why a little more is a little better than a little less, because you can always take it off, but you can't put it back on. And you can see that just removing a couple strands there. I got one loose one here. I'm going to try and get tucked under. But yeah, like we're covering, you really don't need to worry about it too much because your first couple strikes on this are going to pull this apart and it's going to start poking everywhere. But that is a humpy. Oh, I can see one more. It's just coming out right here. I have one little guy sticking out right by the butt there. I don't know if I should bother. We'll make him pretty for his close-up. There we go. Hey, so that's a real classic humpy. I'm really happy with that one. Again, it's a hard to moderately hard tying pattern. And I would recommend that as a new tyer, you give it a try. It's probably not going to work for you, but it's an effective fly even if it's completely battered and ugly. So there's no reason to not give it a shot. Because I think even if you mess it up 7 ways from Sunday, you'll still catch a fish on it. More so than other flies. Some flies you really want to kind of get them. Yeah, and it's a very, I want to say West Coast, but we're not anywhere near the West Coast. Western, Canadian. Mountain stream kind of brook trout pattern. I can't remember who originally tied this. It's been around for a good long time. It's definitely like a classic. If you go to any fly shop, especially around here in British Columbia, they're going to have a tray of humpies. No, and that's the point. You might have to do a couple dozen before they come out like that, and that's perfectly fine. You're gonna learn all those little steps, all the little things I pointed out are probably gonna happen to you because they happen to everyone. But when they do happen to you, you can be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Okay, cool. I'm not doing anything wrong. This is the exact path I should be walking. Right? There's nothing wrong with making the same mistakes others have made before you. The only thing wrong is not learning from them and not improving. So your first one's going to look horrible. Your second one's going to probably look worse than the first one because you lost some confidence. But as you tie them up and you get to your fifth or sixth, they're going to start looking like this. Eventually your back's going to be nice. You're going to have a nice opening on the bottom for your bright color to stick through. You're going to have an even tail. The hump on the humpy is going to be up on the top and not sandwiched down below. That's another thing too that's a little hard to work on, is getting the hump up top as a hump and not like a sausage all wrapped around the hook. You do want to kind of keep your hook shank, straight like that. And it does take a little practice again. It's just something you got to be mindful as you're putting all the material on. So you're going to throw a little head cement on that. We'll do our spin and spiel. I'm very happy with that one. This is very similar to the beetle bug. I have a long form video on the beetle bug coachman or beetle bug fly pattern. It just has a lot more deer hair on it. But the beetle bug is the same version of this, but it's more of a wet fly than a dry fly. So if I was fishing a creek and they were not feeding on the surface, but they were down below in a hole or hiding up underneath a log, and I had to get drift by them, and they just weren't surface feeding for whatever reason, because fish are fish and they're picky sometimes, I would totally throw in a beetle bug and go after him with that, because it's not going to be as buoyant. I don't know if I have a beetle bug. Oh, actually I do, right here. Okay. Ironic. That might even be the same one from the video. So that red guy right there, here, I'll pop him off so you guys have a better view. Basically the same kind of fly, in essence. Same era, same... Here, we'll get him in front. Just come on, I'm gonna bite into my finger a little bit. There we go. So, you can tell, same fly basically, just without all the dry fly nature to it. So it's messy. It's got the red underbelly. It will float to some extent, but like it'll float to the point where you pull it through the riffles, or you get into current, then it'll sink down enough that the fish will notice it, going by doing its thing, right? And that red will tick them off, and they'll come out there and see what's going on, get all territorial, and nail the thing. So that's another version of the same fly. If you're having problems with this whole humpy back bit, or you just don't have a lot of whitetail, or that's not your game and you do more wet fly than dry fly, do a beetle bug. Depending on the scenario, they can be more effective. This is an excellent little dry fly pattern though. Okay, so we'll do a little spin and spiel. I'll be right back with you guys. And the vise today, we have a Humpy. This is tied on a size 10 hook. It has some brown bear fibers coming out the back. You can also use moose body hair, and you can use bucktail as well if you don't have either of those. It has some whitetail, in this case Appalachia whitetail, wrapped up around the hump for the hump, folded over. We have some uni red single strand floss just to wrap the body up. We also use uni 6/0 red thread, which you can just use the red thread if you like. You don't need to use the floss after. It gives it a really nice bright red belly underneath there. We have some rise form hackle for the hackle up in front here, which is a mix of grizzly and red. This is a Adams pack from Magpie Materials. Excellent dude. Go check out Stephanie's. I can't say good enough stuff about all the materials that he has. Not sponsored or anything. He's just an awesome dude. I don't mind throwing him out there. And then the front there is same Appalachian whitetail, just poking through for the two horns or wings up front, and just finished off with a little red uni head there with a little head cement on it to hold everything together. Wonderful little pattern. This is a dry floater, float like a cork, and it just gets murdered by the trout, especially brook trout, creek fishing. This thing's a tank, and it'll get better the more beat up it gets. If it's just got a little thread left on the hook, it'll still catch fish. Wonderful little pattern. Add a couple to your box, eh? Well, there we go. So let me catch up with chat here since I had it muted. Alright, looks like I'm good on chat. Okay, so we're going to do up another one here. I'm not going to be as explanatory through each little step there. I'm just going to try and just tie another one. We'll just do the same thing. A couple things I'm going to try and do is be a little bit tighter on the butt, on the hump here. It's a little loose. I mean, it's not bad at all, really. It's still all together nicely. You kind of want it to look like a little like acorn shell, which it does. But it could be a little bit tighter. I could have pulled that up just a hair. You can see there's a little bit of room. Again, it's not going to matter because as soon as a trout bites down right there, it's going to tear a good number of those fibers up. But we'll do up another one here. So again, that's a size 10, I think is what we're doing. May have been an 8. No, it's 10. Okay, and I gotta find you a happy home and a cork. Let's go stick you with the beetle bug over here. Yeah, I'll go stick you beside the beetle bug. Beauty. Hey, go hang out with this friend there. Hey, K-Fish Bro. Good to have you in, man. Hopefully your day is going good. Oh, judging by the time, I guess you're off school now. It's going good, man. Hopefully you missed or didn't miss that. I just did a wonderful little humpy up. One of my personal favorite patterns. Very, very classic. Very, very interior BC kind of pattern. Not sure who originally tied it, to be honest. I probably have it in my book here, and I should know, but I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, get that guy right about. Go there. There we go. Dink. Beauty. Look at that. Nailed it. Nailed it. Perfect. Okay, we'll get some nice red thread. So again, I'll go through some of the steps here again, but I'm not going to be as detailed as last time. We're just going to get this guy going. So we're using 200 yards of 6/0 uni thread in red. This is a pre-wax classic nylon. Oh, cool. Okay, well, at least you got to see it. You're going to see another one here in a few minutes. So we start our thread, unlike most flies, right smack in the middle. That's going to be where we're going to end our tail and our hump. That's where they're going to tie it in. The wings are going to get tied in the top 1/3. And this is where our hump and our body is. That's another part that a lot of new tyers to this pattern stumble on, as they make the hump way too big and try and tie the hump over to the kind of 1/3 area, and then they crowd the head and they can't finish it off. Or they're... No worries, good to have you in. I keep losing my scissors. I'm just gonna use these guys. Okay, and for the tail, we were using... Actually, I'm gonna have a drink of my tea here before we start and get my hands all full of material. Nice Earl Grey. This was some imported stuff. I haven't had this before. It's Amand Tea London. There's a brand anyway. That's cheap and good. I was in the import section, so my first time having it. About halfway through the box now. Yeah, we got a good chunk of the crew in here today. Okay, so we're gonna do the next bit here, and this is the bear. This is a really nice kind of brown cinnamon bear. Beautiful color, eh? Look at that, it's like fire. That's a super dirty hide though, we'll see. And I got a little bit of deer hair in there now. Pull that out to stack this. So we're just after, there's a really thick undercoat on it. You can see that line there. So I'm gonna cut it just above that line, so I'm not cleaning, because it's all undercoat underneath that, and I don't need any more than that. It's an interesting fur. It feels like a cross between like straw and like monofilament. Like it's very tough. Very wispy. It's almost like, although it's much shorter, it almost feels like the guard hair. Thank you for looking that up for me. I appreciate that. I'm normally kind of on the ball with all the historic stuff for the flies, but this book I'm tying from right now doesn't have any of the historic references that I can just kind of retrain my brain on. Google's probably right. It's a pretty famous fly. Okay, and I'm just going to clean out any... I don't really see... I think I might have cut it at a good spot. I don't see any under fur in there, so I think we're good. Now I'm going to grab this here and hold it pretty tight. You can see I got a lot of longer wispy, almost like a secondary guard hair, and they're curving off all funny angles, so they're not going to do me any good. So I'm just going to grab those guys and try to pull just them out. So now we got those gone. Now we should have a nicer tail to work with now. There we go. I'm doing good. Hopefully everyone else is doing good. Oh, all sorts. Bookstores, thrift stores. I've been collecting them since I was like 8 years old, so a lot of them are very old that I've read numerous times. When my father-in-law passed away too, he left me all of his fly tying and book collection, and he had quite a lot. And that's been part of this kind of journey with this channel too, has been going through his knowledge, because he made gobs and gobs of notes from all the books that he has. He loved to take the information from the books and write it down in notepad form, and kind of take everything and put it together. I guess kind of like a AI bot would do with a search from the internet or whatever, and summarize everything. And it's been really cool to go through that and kind of follow his thought process on everything. Okay, so we got a little woofy tail. That's what we're looking for. I'm gonna go here and go back. But yeah, I have a whole library bookshelf just full of fly tying fishing books, and then several boxes on top of that. And I've been meaning to get better. I was doing a really good job there for a while of sharing that basically daily with everyone in the community post, and I kind of fell away from that. And I really do need to get back at that. So it's a good reminder for me to keep those posts going and sharing his knowledge and my knowledge with our little community, because I do think that's very important to get that out there. And it's not that any of it's right or wrong, it's just another way to look at things, right? Yeah, I'm going to be pulling this up here and coming back to where my thread base is and cutting that off right at the thread base. Nice clean cut like that. Oh, missed one or two little fibers there. Come on now. If you missed one or two, it's really not that big of a deal. What you're mainly going for is this step right at the halfway point. That'll help you to keep the body separated from the wing area, which again is one of those things that a lot of people have some issues with. Oh, I did miss a few there. Having it go ahead a little bit is fine. I definitely don't want it going all the way up to the eye like a few of these guys are. That'll do. Yeah, for sure. And the book I'm tying from right now is one of his books. And yeah, I like to think he'd be proud of me for using all of his materials and knowledge and passing that on to other people, because that was a big part of what he enjoyed doing, was passing on his information to someone. And it might not be like life-changing information, but I think a lot of people will find it very useful. Yeah, you think it's enough? I think we can make it work. We are just doing half a hook here, so hopefully this will be enough. My inner fly tying gauge says we're good. I want this to come kind of actually a bit lower. I'm just going to pull it down as I tie the last bit in, just so it's not interrupting the hump when we get to it. Okay, are you long enough to go in the... Oh, you are going to be... Not by much, but you are. There we go. Just getting my hackle clip. Beauty! Alright. Okay. Now we need the whitetail. Again, this is Magpie Materials, Appalachia whitetail. You can see you did a really good job with the tanning on it. It's well done, nice and hard, clean, like no membrane or anything left on it. Did a really good job. He did cut a little bit of the hair on the one side here, cutting it off, but I mean, it's really not easy to cut these into squares, to be honest. So I won't hold that against him, but the fur quality, other than it being very under fur heavy, which again, it's not a bad thing, it's just a little more cleanup. The colors on these tips are just wonderful for this kind of thing. They have a nice kind of, I'll get it up and close for the camera so it can focus. Have that nice kind of light tips, which you don't see a lot in whitetail as much. Normally they'll have little black tips on them more commonly than the white. And I think that is more to do with the Appalachia area whitetail, because all the whitetail we get around here, they'll have a little bit of a black tip, which is what you'll commonly see in the fly shops. Hey, there you go. Which one are you getting? I might even have it. The one I'm tying from is I think it's Beyond Basic Fly Tying, something like that. He did a bunch of books, one's like Basic Fly Tying, one's like Moderate Basic or something like that. There's not a lot of patterns in it. Like the last book I just finished had I don't know, like 350 or something patterns. Like it had a lot. This one only has like maybe 20, so we'll be done this one probably by the end of the week. What I'd recommend too, K-Fish, is go down to your local library and just get some books out. You can always just take pictures with your phone on the patterns that you're really interested in. If it's something you really want to sit down and read or re-reference, like a lot of my books I love to reference over and over and over again. But if I'm just looking for some new patterns or whatnot, yeah, just get it from the library, mate. Or online, there's gobs of, pattern websites. There's the Fly Vault, which is kind of hosted and done by Brent Jones, who also does the Facebook group Beginner Fly Tyers, or Fly Tying for Beginners, which is an excellent group. Even if you're not a beginner, you should totally go and join that Facebook group. Really good people. And you also get to help out some newbies. So, we're just going to clean that up. Hey, thanks for the subscribe, Arsh. I appreciate that, mate. Always good to have someone join our group. Really, and like for me, I like the ones that have like, it's like a tome and it's got a gob of patterns. Not so much. Hey, cool. That's probably a good one to do because I don't really know a lot about carp flies. They're one of those things that's a very specialty type of fly. Still getting a lot of hair out of this. Sorry, don't mind me, guys. I gotta clean this out before we continue. I'm pulling out all the under fur, so this is what keeps the deer warm in the winter and waterproof. Is actually the under fur. The over fur that we're got in our hand helps, obviously, but a lot of the warmth and waterproofing is this under fur that we're trying to get out. Yeah, something that has a lot of patterns is good because once you get decent, and you already are decent, you can just look at a picture and kind of tell what you need to do to get to that end result. And once you're at that stage, then you're just kind of gonna be a little more hungry for the patterns than you are for the process. That all being said, the process is still important, but you're gonna want more of the patterns than the process. Because YouTube videos, it's probably the easiest way to learn the process. You can actually see someone do it, and that's gonna make a difference for you. Okay, there we go. We're actually kind of clean now. Not getting any more fur out, although I'm sure there's still some in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang on to the back side here, same thing, and we're going to do the front and just whip it. Not going to do that too much because that builds up static as we went over. I'm just going to gently pull out some of those under furs. And I don't see any broken ones yet, but that's going to be our top. We're going to be thinning that out again here. The next one we do, I'm actually going to do the tail in deer hair instead of in bear, and I'll show you the difference because that's a really common one. Like if you're getting these at a fly shop, they've probably been mass produced and they typically don't go with 3 or 4 material fly. They're looking for like a 2 or 3 max material fly so they can make their profit margin. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, right? But they'll just use the same deer hair that they're using for the hump as the tail. The downside of that is you're going to end up with a bunch of half cut up deer hair. And the downside of that is, well, you're wasting material, but you can save that and use that for your muddler minnows or whatever else you're going to be spinning a small amount of deer hair. Just throw it in a little container. And you just pull out little bits and then stack it in your fingers or in your hand, wrap it up, and it's perfect for those little deer heads. And you don't have to worry about wasting material that way. Okay. I'm just going to tap it sideways, get it all together, and we'll reveal it and see what we get. Okay, not too bad. I got a few sticking out kind of sideways there. And they're probably broken. We definitely have quite a bit. You see how much fluff actually works its way down, eh? Cool. No, those sound like good books. I can't give you a lot of advice on bass stuff. I mean, I read a lot about it because I have a lot of books from the U.S. and a lot of American books are crappy bass, you know, that kind of thing. So I do read a lot about it. I just don't have the personal experience with it. I've never caught a bass. I would love to. I've got pike and other stuff. I've fished for bass in Alberta. They do have a number of lakes that have bass. Orbis is really good. They have the Audrey Joy's version is really good. That has like a lot of patterns and plates. A lot of the flies that I tied recently before this book were a lot of her stuff. She's a pretty famous tire. Okay, so I'm just grabbing all these tips here like so, and I'm going to be getting out all these short ones that aren't going to tie in for us. Same thing, we're just going to knock this off. I'm just looking for any really short ones. They'll fall out for the most part as we tie it in if they are too short, but if I'm noticing any, I'll get them out now. Okay, and I think we're good. I think that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to grab this back. I want to do the whole length here. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. Now anything that's too short is going to fall out of here. There we go. Now we're getting some short guys out. They're not going to help the fly, so it's best to just get them out before you tie in. Overall, that's a good looking little bundle. Again, it's roughly about the size of a pencil. You can see it like in my, it's, you know, like they're, it's really hard to describe that in words. You really have to have it in your hands and you'll feel it. Alright, so what we're going to do, still losing a few pieces here and there. That's fine, I got a little bit much here, so thinning it out is not a bad thing at all. Alright, so we want to have this lined up with the end of the tail, and we want to move it back just a bit, like so. Because we're going to take up that little bit that we moved it back is going to be the amount that's going to get taken up when we bend it forwards. Okay, now we're going to hold it in place. We're going to cut it off right in front of the eye here. And it rains deer hair mist of glory. There we go. It's just everywhere. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. Ugh. I can already see there's a few there that are gonna be just a hair too short, but that's fine. We'll keep working with it. And we want to tie this in right at that halfway point. So I want this to be about a bodkin width. I know I use bodkin width for a lot of things, but honestly, that's the majority of measurements that we do are about that size, which is about 2 to 3 thread lengths. So I want that space there for that first wrap so it doesn't skip over. want it to be right on top of the hook here. And this first one's going to be a soft wrap, so I'm going to grab it in my fingers. You can see this is loose. No, that's all good. I said any of the Orvis books, there's a good number of them, and I've read most of them. I'm just going to slide forward a bit here. Oh, that's too far back. Let's try that again. I've read most of the Orvis books, and I've been impressed with all of them so far. Am I too far forward? Where's the thread there? 1 second, I'm just gonna look underneath. Yeah, I am a little too far forward. Okay, let's back that up. Never too late to fix a mistake. Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's got a different name too. I know the one you're talking about. It's almost like a chubby Chernobyl, but not. I'm gonna recut this because it's getting kind of all wonky for me. Playing with it too much. Want a nice clean cut there. Alright. So I didn't get that close enough. Let's move this ahead a bit more. There we go. Apologize, my fingers are starting to cramp up. It's been a couple hours tying now. I'll be happy when this isn't stuck in my fingers anymore. Okay, so again, we're going to do those light wraps here. Just 3 or 4, just to hold it in. I'm just putting enough pressure on those to pin that down. I'm just getting rid of some of these broken ones. I probably shouldn't have honestly let go of that. I should have kept my tension on that. And if anything breaks or sticks out, just go with it. Because it's either going to fall out or you're going to wrap it in. One of the two. And either one doesn't matter. We want to be keeping this on top of the hook as much as we can, and right back to that tie-in point where the tail is. And once we get back here, we want to put a good amount of wraps, like 3 or 4, but not any more tension. We just want to build up the thread there so it's not cutting into the fibers, otherwise we'll lose a lot of fibers. And now as I'm moving forward, this is where I'm increasing the tension. And I'm going to do light tension again up here just to stop that from flaring. Just enough to pin it down. Nothing crazy. And I'm going to go right up front here and then back. And this is where we're going to go with moderate to hard tension as we build this up. And once you get enough thread there, it will just climb the ladder. And we'll start binding that down. It should be good to let go. And this is where we're putting more hard tension. You can see the soft wraps that we have are starting to let go. We're just going to bind those right in. Not going to hurt nothing. The main thing is you don't want to do enough tension that you're cutting into the deer hair, because then you're just going to end up with a mess. Again, this last wraps we're going to do light to moderate, so we don't cut in. But you need to have a good amount of them there because you're going to be pulling that forward. You don't want it skipping forward on us. Okay, there we go. Alright, good. So we don't have too much flare there. We have a little bit. Probably did 1 or 2 wraps, a little on the heavy side. But I think we're good. If you have a little flare, like just a couple pieces like that, that's fine. As long as the main part of the body's laying flat. That's what you want to end up. That's how you know you got your tension pretty much where you want it. Too light and it'll come apart when you pull on it. Too heavy and you'll cut through it. So you gotta find that happy medium. Okay. I'm gonna get this thread through. do my best to get this around the hook point without catching it. These are just going to be kind of touching turns. We want to have this laying flat, but also covering all those little imperfections. If it's too bumpy, you can do a quick varnishing with your half hitch tool, and that'll help a lot. But this is, again, mainly, it's not necessary really, it's mainly there to give us that clean, bright red fly belly that we want. I'm gonna have to use a hackle plier here. I'm getting a little too stubby. But I think we'll have enough to finish up. Just don't want to slip and have it go on me, so we'll use the hackle plier here. Thank you, appreciate that. Thanks for saying hi, Cole. Good to have you in. Okay, caught it there, and I'm just gonna wrap it up. Oh, come on now, don't wrap around my thread. Well, it looks like I might have caught my floss on the, yeah, I did too, didn't I? Must have just nicked the floss on the hook point when I was going by, because it's the exact location that happens. You see, it's just sticking out a little bit. That's gonna get covered up here anyway by the hump, so I'm not worried about it, nor would it make any difference really, even if it didn't. You can see there's a little notch there, so I must have just kissed the tip of the hook, which is always a pain with the floss. It's very fragile stuff. Alright, so I'm just gonna have a drink. Thanks for joining me, everyone. If you are enjoying the stream and you're liking the fly time, please drop a like on the video. Not sure what we're up to yet. Just refresh it here and have a look. Up to 41 likes. That's awesome. Really appreciate that, everyone. Yeah, if you like what you're seeing, feel free to drop a like. Doesn't cost anything. Makes me happy. Helps to push it out to other people that may also enjoy the stream, and helps our little channel grow. And we get to spread the love of fly tying to more people. There's nothing bad about that whatsoever. Okay, so I'm going to be tying in the wing just below here in this little notch. And leaving this notch, normally that would be a bad thing. You don't want to have steps in your flies. But in this pattern, what that does is when you're pulling it down. Oh, good. Hey, we got some stuff. Oh! Hey, thanks, Yoshi. Hey, I appreciate that, guys. Just so everyone knows, too, I just got the email from YouTube. If everyone wants to ever give me any gifts or jewels, since it's a new thing in Canada, they have a promotion on this week, or this next 2 months actually, for Canadian streamers, that we get an extra 50% of whatever the gift is. So like in this case, for Yoshi's gave out a gift membership, which went to Oregon Fishing Adventures, which is awesome because Oregon's an awesome guy and that makes me super happy. I'll have to talk to him and in K-Fish's stream if he's on there. I must have bumped my camera. We're kind of out of frame here with the tail. Well, let's get that a little better. There we go. But yeah, if anyone ever drops any gifts or super chats or any of that stuff, I get an extra 50% from that for the next 2 months as a promotional for Canadian streamers from YouTube, which I thought was really cool. It's really nice, and they don't really have to do that, but I appreciate it. Okay, so we're gonna pull this up. Again, this step here, that acts as kind of like a fulcrum or a pivot point when I'm tying this down. As I'm tying this down, this little lump here is actually going to help to tighten that hump up. So in this case, that little lump is actually very beneficial. So that's why when we're tying those in, we actually create a step there by cutting them off really flat and even. And that little lump there, when I tie this down, will help to tighten that all forwards. We'll try and pull this forward and not get any tail fibers, which may take a couple tries sometimes, depending how the tail wants to behave. Oh, that looks like we got her good. Okay. And yeah, we're gonna have a few too short, like this guy that's gonna stick out that we're gonna have to deal with. But that is normal. You're going to have broken fibers and short fibers and all sorts of different stuff. But thanks, Yoshi. I really appreciate that, man. Gift memberships are awesome. I'm going to be working on more membership material as well this month. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to do a soft wrap to hold this in. Trying to keep everything on top. And let the thread do the tightening bit. Soft wrap ending in the same location, pulling down. And we should have a tight body, hopefully. Just do 3 wraps. Hold it in. That's all good, man. I know everyone in here works really hard for their bones, and any donations I get, I'm thoroughly, honestly, appreciate very much. Yeah, isn't that cool? I think someone said that they did. I think that was Oregon earlier. I'm trying to remember on one of my, I can't remember if it was the first stream or second stream I did today, that they mentioned that they got some jigs from you. It might have been someone else though, possibly. Okay, so I'm gonna have a look underneath here. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. You just want the belly poking through like that, like a little pill bottle kind of deal. That's all. Okay, so I'm gonna walk this back now. This will tighten it up, and I'm just doing moderate wraps. If you go too hard here while you're tightening up the cap, it's going to split the hairs. So we don't want to do that. We just want enough room here for 3 wraps of hackle, and we can start to separate all this into our 2 wings. First we need to throw a what's the word? Thread dam in front of it to hold it up. So I'm going to gently preen it up, make sure it's on the right side. Oh, did he? I was waiting for him to do that. I'll have to check that out after. I've been waiting for him to, post that. Yeah, Villa, I was waiting for Villa to post it. Rob mentioned it this morning. I think it's so cool that we can share stuff like that. Everyone's got their own unique everything, right? That's really cool. And Rob's such a good guy. He really is. He's an honest, down-to-earth good dude. Okay, so I'm gonna do... You want a good thread base here because this is going to put a lot of tension. That's okay. I'll be happy to have Oregon in here more often if he uses the membership. I think that's cool. He makes some really cool stuff, and he's got some good videos, and I enjoy his antics when he's in there with K-fish. Okay, so now we're going to do our figure eights on that. There's a few that are kind of going cattywampus on me there, but we got more than enough deer hair up front to make a really nice humpy out of that. Okay, so half hitch tool. There we go. So again, we don't really need to pull this left and right. What we want to do is use our, I'll do it this way so you guys can see. Just gonna use our half hitch tool and just kind of walk it through and press it down like that so it's nice and flat. I'll do it on my side so you can see what I'm doing. And you don't really have to worry about it being exactly half and half. Most of the time, as long as you're fairly straight up top, it'll be more than okay half and half wise. And that's all you want to do. You don't need to like pull it left and right and everything. You just want to have it just separated like that, just so you can get the thread through. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. I probably should have done this before. So now it's gonna be a bit of a pain to do this without tagging some hair in. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay, I'm going to bring this up and over and through that trough that we made. It's going to be a little cockeyed for this first couple wraps, but it'll straighten itself out with the next couple turns here. At least it should. Get 2 there. Three. And do 2 turns behind to lock it in. Once it's locked in, then we're going to do the opposite direction. Have to come up underneath and forward. If there's any that are going left and right kind of cattywampus, you want to try to work them in, because a lot of times they will find their happy home. Oh, Ruben's in? Hey Ruben, good to have you in, man. Haven't been lurking in your chat or your stream as much as I'd like to, but it's always a pleasure to have you in here. Oh, I've been doing good. Hopefully Ruben's been doing good. Ruben's always doing good though. Thank you. Yeah, it's a fun little pattern. It's definitely more of a difficult tie though, but I'm enjoying myself. Okay, and then 2 at the back here to lock it in. Now we should have 2 separate horns. They don't have to be crazy separate, but enough that the hackle will fill in between. There we go. We actually got rain today. So it's getting rid of the snow pretty quick. I still got pockets of snow, and now it's more like a glacier ice. That's gonna be there for a while. But we've had some junky, well, it's hard to say. It hasn't been a junky winter, but like I haven't been able to get out ice fishing once. There's been a few times where I could have got out on a lake, but I was busy, one thing or another. But it was either good and we hit -17 and it froze up, or it was +17. It was going back and forth, and the ice has just been rotten and not safe. So there's plenty of people that are out there on the unsafe ice anyway. We lost a few ATVs and a few snowmobiles through it, and a few kids fell in closer to shore. No one got hurt, thankfully, but definitely don't want to mess around with bad ice. It's not a good time. Yeah, it's raining now, so that's good. That means open water's coming, and it won't be a problem anymore. Okay, I'm just gonna walk the thread back up now that we've made that. Ah, it is Oregon's in. Hey, good to have you in, man. Yeah, you got the gifted membership. I'm gonna be doing more membership stuff here shortly, so that's so cool. Yeah, some of our trees are trying to bud out. I'm hoping it's not too early for them, but I mean, it's been so mild, it's really hard to tell. Apple tree's not budding yet, but the Saskatoon berries and stuff are definitely starting to bud out. Okay, let's get some hackles going here. Again, I'm going to be using this Arise Form hackle from Magpie Materials. Beautiful cape though. If you need like a half cape like this, such a good deal. I'm going to grab one of these longer ones actually, because those horns are a good size. I want to match the horns. So. Yeah, I like my humpies. These are like the goat. Yeah, it's a humpy, for sure. These are like the goat, like creek fishing flies for like brook trout and stuff. They just go nuts over these things. Yeah, just finishing up with the hackle now. Just let me fight with this, and I'll show you the one we did earlier here. Yeah, thanks so much for that, Yoshi. I've been waiting for Stardust had gifted a couple memberships earlier. But I was waiting for someone to gift some memberships. And I really appreciate that. Yeah, here, sorry, Oregon. Let's show you the fly you missed out on earlier. Where did I put you? Was it in this one? I think it was in this one. No, that was a Royal Wolf we did earlier there. Mono loop on the tail. I'll do it on like with thread, but I don't typically use mono. Nothing wrong with that though. You definitely can. I'm sorry, Oregon. I don't remember which. Oh, there it is. She's staring me right in the face. Got too many corks full of flies here. There, that's the one we stuck it in. There's the one we did earlier. And there's the beetle bug. That's kind of his wet fly version of the same thing. Yep, that's what he looks like. There's his butt. There's his head. That's what this one will be in a few minutes here once we get the hackle done up. I'll tie on the grizzly first here. And I'm going with some oversized hackle just because we got such a big, I think I want a hair big on the wing there. So I'm gonna match the wing up, make this guy a poofy. Alright, so we'll pull down. We're gonna grab our hackle. Yeah, the reason I don't is just because droppers are illegal here. We can't use them, so I used to at one point when they were legal. That was a good long while ago now. But yeah, dropper fishing's fun. And then you can do like combo stuff, and it just gets your whole brain going with different things you can do with different combinations of flies. You know, for your top water and your lower stuff. And I'm not really sure, other than people maybe, you know, possibly snagging fish, I'm not really sure why it became a big deal. Because although it does, you know, increase your chance of getting the fish, you're still limited by all the regular limits, right? So I'm not sure exactly why that became a thing. But yeah, single hook only now. Or blah blah blah. No droppers. So that's basically why I don't tie them. But not that they're not effective or anything, or I don't enjoy them, but it just feels weird doing something that's illegal and I can't really technically use here. But if someone ordered them and, you know, asked me to do them, then yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's kind of like I got like gobs of, you know, flatfish or hot shots or crankbaits and things, and a lot of them still have treble hooks on them, but like the vast majority of the lakes here I can't use a treble hook, so they just kind of sit in the box. Oh yeah, I've done that. I've got myself right through the eyebrow once too. But you know, learning process, right? We all have been there. Okay, so same thing, I'm just gonna pull down on here. That'll give me a good indication of where the web's stopping and starting. So we're gonna go right about here on this guy. Yeah, I twisted and looked back and pulled forward. Yeah, I really wish we could, to be honest. It would be a fun extra thing to, you know, just one of those extra things you can add in for the what if scenarios, right? Because I love nymph fishing, but I love dry fly fishing at the same time, and you can kind of like do both at the same time. I think it's a really cool thing. I wish we could still do, but we can't. So I don't. I think it's silly. Yeah, let's just get into it, right? I always tell myself I'm gonna do that. And I get out, you know, when you're actually fishing and you're like, oh, that'd be a cool lure to throw, and it's like, ah, but then I gotta change the hook, and do I have that size hook? And I don't, so then it just stays in the box with treble hook. But, you know, first world problems, right? Hey, Ethan, good to have you in, man. I really just want to catch this corner in here. Hey, Ethan, I'm going to be pulling this forward here while I'm wrapping, and then we'll move those horns back. And I'm going to throw in just 2 half hitches here just to hold that tension in, just in case something breaks, but not necessary. I just want to end that a little bit back here, so I'm not ending it right by the eye, so I can tie off. That should work fine, just like that. Hey, we're gonna wrap our, yeah, I'm liking it so far. So again, I'm gonna take my, got 2 hackles there, and you do have to be careful doing this, but I do like to pull them back, and then just gently with my finger press it over, and you'll feel it. You'll feel when it's good, and it'll stay up, and that'll just help you to get that first wrap, so you're not fighting the tension of it being bent over. And I should actually remove, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Let me get my tweezers. I forgot to remove, I normally like to remove the first like 5 or 6 fibers from the upper side, just so they don't make a mess. So they don't help you at all in the actual hackle wrap. They're the ones that end up kicking left and right and just causing you anxiety, at least me anyway. Get out of there. Get out of there. Dude, where are you attached? Yeah, either way, that's good enough. I'll fuss with it after, if it needs to be cleaned up. That's a great idea. That's an excellent idea. Oh, you think I sleep? What makes you think I sleep? I'm kidding. Depends on the night. I work pretty late, so a lot of nights I don't even get off work until 9:30 or 10. So it really depends on my work schedule and what day it is. But I'm normally kind of crashing out around that time because my brain's just telling me that it's time to go to bed for the next day. Okay, so we got our 3 wraps in the back. I wasn't really counting proper, so we could have got 4 in there. If we did, that's fine. I want to get 3 in the back at least and 2 in the front. And if I'm going to get more of something, I'd rather have more of the red hackle than the grizzly hackle, just personal preference. I like the red color. I think it adds more to the fly itself than the grizzly, although the grizzly gives you that magic look that you get with the 2 hackles mixing together. Yeah, I mean, I kind of switched over to the morning. Like I normally stream. I get up at 4 in the morning, and then I'll get the stream set up for 4:30 to 5 in the morning, and then I'll stream until about 6:30 in the morning. Normally, most mornings anyway. Unless I really just had a long night and I want to sleep in a bit, then I'll, whenever I get up, kind of thing. But I'm trying to do a morning stream for all those, for the morning crowd, because there's plenty of us that are doing the evenings, and I'm generally just honestly too bushed to focus enough on the flies in the evening. But when I got days off, it's a little different. I'll try and throw a few evening streams in. Sweet. Well, the first 100's like the hardest, man. You can get 100, then you can get anything. Honestly, the first 100 is a pain. You gotta work for those. As long as you're actually working for them, not doing other stuff that they don't like. I'd highly recommend that you don't do the things that get you the things, because they'll find out, and in the end, you'll be cheating yourself. Yeah, I don't think you are, man. I think you're working hard and you're putting the work in and you're getting the subscribes for a good reason. And I'm proud of you. Cool, yeah, and if I start early enough, then Rob will jump in before he gets to work, and then he'll jump in on his break if I start a bit earlier. I've been trying to just get in there a bit earlier, closer to 4:30. This is all Pacific Standard Time stuff, so. Yeah, that's cool. If you get your first 100, that's awesome. Do you need one more, Ethan? Is that what he's saying? He's only got 99? How many we got in the chat here? We've got 14 right now, so if there's someone in the chat that hasn't subbed to Ethan's Lures, go check him out, drop him a sub, get him up to that, be that 100th person. Come on, that's an honor. Be someone's 100th sub. Come on, guys, anyone's in there if you want. I'll even moderate you just so you can jump over to Ethan's channel and get him that extra sub. Yeah, if anyone hasn't subbed Ethan's channel and they're in the chat, and you want to make it easier on yourself to click over, just let me know. I'll drop you a mod and you can go sub him, because that is cool. You can be his 100th sub. You're going to remember that. So when he's a big YouTuber and he's pulling in the big stream numbers, you'll know you were his 100th sub. How cool is that? Just let me know. I'll drop you a mod and you can go sub his channel up. Plus, he's got good content. You should go sub him anyway. I remember when you were just at like 25 subs. I think you're right around there when we first met. You come a long way, man. Alright, well, I'm trying to clean that up, but it's not coming out, so we're just going to deal with it after. I'm just going to have to pull those out. There you go, man. You'll get a little deal from the YouTube gods shortly. They'll send you an email. You seem to unlock, I mean, it's all unofficial, but you seem to unlock some favor with the YouTube algorithm gods once you reach 100. So hopefully you start taking off a bit here now. Especially for like shorts and live stream stuff. It really seems to like you once you get 100. Make it a lot easier to get to that 250 and then 500. Yours, no. For whatever reason, I have to like go directly to your channel. I don't get anything in my feed from you, even though I have the bell on your channel. I don't get nothing, and it's really frustrating. I have to like actually go to your channel. Probably don't want to do that. It might actually have a negative effect. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap this up front. See if I can just get the wings back and not the hackle. Get at least 2 of these guys up front if I can manage it. Yeah, it's like they put in all this stuff, and I do like some of the features they put in recently. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost like they've broken almost as much as they've been fixing. Like it's not quite on the level of frustration, but it's on the level of like, come on, guys, you know. It's a hair closer than I wanted it to be for the eye, but yeah, I've redone it several times. Yeah, no, I did, and it happens. Like I remember, it reminds me when I'm like seeing K-Fish's channel or whatever. I'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't seen his stuff in like forever. So I'll go over there and I'll even undo it and redo it. And sometimes the bell will be gone. That happens too. Either way, it's annoying. Really, they need to fix that. Unfortunately, with the way YouTube is now, the subscription stuff just doesn't seem to matter like it used to, which is not only frustrating, it's a feature that used to work really well. Yeah, the view counts on shorts have been weird. Like I've gone from, you know, averaging 1 to 2,000, and it just sits there at like a couple hundred now, which is fine. I mean, I'm not doing it for the view counts on the shorts, are more just for fun and for keeping people updated on the lives if they can't make it in or whatnot. But yeah, I'm not sure what they changed last month, but it sure changed a lot of stuff. There we go. That's nice and tight. Excuse me. More tea. Yeah, it's frustrating. I like your stuff. Especially when you're actually getting out there and doing the fishing and the steelhead and whatever. Like, that's my jam. I like that stuff. And it's not just you, unfortunately. There's several channels that I get zero updates from, and I'll be in a live and someone will mention, oh, did you see so-and-so's latest update? And it's like, nope, I had no idea. Sure enough, go there and it's like, why am I not getting any updates? I'd be fine if it like dropped, the occasional one here and there and just didn't update me, but it's like certain channels I get zip, zero, zilch, nada, nothing. And it is frustrating. Okay, so now we're gonna clean this guy up. He's a little on the shaggy side. Yeah, cool. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, it's just part of the game, right? It's like, what are we gonna do about it, really? Yeah, if you haven't subbed to Oregon or PNW, you should do that. Yeah, I'll go check that out. Trying to decide if I want to try and... I think I'm just going to half hitch this guy. It's just... I don't want to crowd the head, and I feel like if I do a whip finish on this, that I'm just going to be crowding the head more, so I'm just going to throw in a couple more. Just going to throw in a couple more half hitches on it, call it good. Yeah, call that good, that's nice and tight. But I mean, I can't complain. YouTube's done a lot for, well, YouTube is the community, right? So they've done a lot for everyone here. Okay, I'm just gonna pull out some of these hackle fibers that are being a toot, and I'll call it good. Get a little. I really should have. Yeah, my short views have dropped pretty good. One thing I noticed, actually, I tried a thing this week, and I don't know if any of you guys have the same kind of deal here, but all my shorts were being set up as member only first, so my members get access to them, and then going to public. And a lot of times I'll do like kind of a double short where it's like they've already seen that one, but it's a different fly. And I started putting those out as public only. Yeah, because some of my shorts, were only getting like 12 or 20 views, when before they'd be getting like averaging over 1,000, and then yeah, it's just been kind of poor. But I know it's not just me, it's everyone else, so I'm not really complaining about that aspect of it. Yeah, sometimes it's one step forward, one step back. I've been battling the monetization monster for months now, where I keep getting right up to like 3,800 watch hours, like just right around 4,000 watch hours, just getting ready to get monetized, and then one of my good videos will drop off for the whole 1 year thing, so it's like a treadmill. Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You gotta just keep at it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's a nice little humpy, eh? Hey, good to have you in Valhalla. Really? That's not bad. Anything over 1,000 is good in my opinion. Really. Especially if you're getting closer to like 2K views on a short, that's pretty good. That's a decent amount of people. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. Yeah, I seen you on the live there, Valhalla, with the power hammer going. Man, that thing is wicked. I'm assuming that thing must be electric, or is it diesel? It's super noisy, so it's hard to tell. I know, like, it spins a massive, counterweight and causes that to jump up and down, so. It's a cool piece of machinery, though, I'll give it that. There's a red Humpy. Happy with that guy. He turned out pretty good. He's super bushy. He's a bushy boy. I'll do my little spin and spiel on that, and we'll be right back. Just gonna mute all my stuff here. Okay, so in the vise today we have a Humpy. Oh, I was gonna start that over again. 1 second here. In the vise today we have a Humpy. This is tied on a size 10 hook, dry fly hook. It has a little bit of brown bear for the tail. It has white Appalachia whitetail deer hair for the hump. And wrapped up over some red silk. In this case, it is a uni floss silk for the underneath the body, give it a nice pop of red. It's got some magpie material, rise form hackle in brown and grizzly, wrapped up nice and thick with the Appalachian whitetail deer coming out for the two horns or wings up front. And a little bit of red, we used red thread, 8/0 uni thread, and a little bit of head cement in front just to finish it off. Wonderful little pattern. This thing is a killer pattern for anywhere in British Columbia or really the West Coast. Great little dry fly. It's so universal, especially for creek fishing or anytime you have some faster moving water or some wind or something that you're fighting with. This thing will float like a cork. And the more it gets beat up by the fish, the more the fish want to beat it up. So it's a wonderful thing to have. Add a couple to your box, eh? Wonderful little fly. There we go. You want a peacock Humpy? I could do a peacock Humpy. I'd have to change my thread to green, I suppose, but I could do a peacock Humpy. We got 2 reds done. I don't think I've ever tied a peacock Humpy, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't see why I wouldn't, though. That's, peacock's magical all by itself, so I don't see a problem with that. You can have room beside your friend there. Yeah, that's true. Humpy on hump day. That's hilarious. Didn't even think about that till just now. Okay, so you're gonna go. Are we gonna hang you out with your friend or not? Nah, we'll just stick you beside this guy here. I can understand why. I like the reds myself, just because that's what I grew up with. And the reds just really upset the brook trout and drive them nuts. So there we go. He's in the vise, or in the cork with his friend. Over there we got some nymphs and all sorts of random. And I got a royal coachman there too. All sorts of random stuff in this. Is kind of just a catch-all. So I'm assuming you want me just to tie up the body with peacock. Is that the idea there, Oregon? Yeah, because I imagine they'd be like like a variation, almost like a boatman, right? Like they could imitate a lot of stuff with a peacock underneath. That's a great idea. Or doing something similar like that with some legs out like a boatman. That might be kind of a cool combo. Yeah, that's what, like I said, it's one of those magical materials like pheasant tail. It's just like it doesn't matter what you add it on, it's gonna catch fish. That is very true. That's why I said I'm kind of surprised I haven't tied that before, because it seems like just a no-brainer combo. Come on, Vice. There we go. She's getting stiff. I need to take her apart and lube her up. Running her too hard. Alright. Well, let's move you a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good there. We'll call that good. I don't seem to be too overexposed now. I think we're doing good for the lighting. I think it was just the sun that was coming through the windows. Setup's not used to it being light. Cause I'm running like -20 exposure on the camera here, like crazy, like locked down, trying to get it darker, but that's as far as I can go. Because again, most of the time I'm tying at like 4 in the morning when it's still dark out, so I got a lot of lights around, like under lights and top lights. And it helps with that, but when the sun comes out, it kind of overpowers everything. I think it throws the sensors off. Okay, so we're gonna start off. I want to do, yeah, we'll do that here. We'll do what is this? Olive done in 6/0. That'll work. We'll do some olive done in 6/0. Oh yeah, I mean, in a lot of cases, like a straight shank's actually better, to be honest. I prefer a straight shank. Technically, it just changes the way that it fishes when you bring it in. Do I tie Euro nymphs? Oh yeah. I got a couple kicking around here. I love tying nymphs. These aren't like technically Euro nymphs, but I mean, there's your classic. Why can't I think of that name? Prince. Something Prince. A Princey nymph. Prince nymph. There's some Prince nymphs. What else do I got here? There's these guys, just regular nymphs. These are Tycho nymphs. Got a whole bunch more different types of like Prince nymphs here. These guys are cool. They're not. Yeah, I've been meaning to. You talked about that in, I think it was in, was it K-Fish's stream? I can't remember. You were talking about in one of the streams there. These guys are just murder too on brook trout. These little red-headed stepchilds. These guys are just murder on brook trout. They work so well, and they're simple, and they're cool, and they're red, and I like red, so these guys are awesome. They're kind of like a Euro nymph, basically. Same kind of style. I got more in the back there, but I'm not going to pull them out because I'm going to drop stuff everywhere, and I don't want to drop stuff right now. I need to fix my tying bench. I got like a kind of half a foot hole at the back of my tying desk here, and who's taking off? Oh, Valhalla. Okay, later, Valhalla, man. Yeah. You mean Brian? He was on not that long ago. He just released it a long form. I know he's been working on I don't know if he's working on it because I didn't sub his gaming channel, but I know he's been trying to get a gaming channel going that he's playing. I think Warframe is what he was playing. So he might be just putting more effort into his Warframe channel for now. But he just released I think it was last night or night before, like a long form on, which fly was it now? Can't recall off the top of my head. But yeah, he's definitely not as active as he was. The other person I missed that I haven't seen in a while is Craft. I like Craft stuff. But he seems to kind of come and go lately, which is all good. I'm not throwing any shade his way, but I would like to see him come back. Hopefully he will. Maybe life's just getting busy for him. So I'm going to do this olive done thread if we're going to do the peacock, and I have a feeling this is just going to be all buggy as all get out. I'm kind of excited for this pattern. I'm not sure why I didn't think about that before. And I'm going to do just a white-tailed deer tail on this one. Why can't I find my scissors? They're there. But yeah, we're gonna. Hopefully this is okay thread. I just don't want to go dig through my thread box, so we're gonna just use some olive done, which is close enough. I think that'll work. That'll work. Okay, and I'm just gonna use the white-tailed deer hair for the tail that I have a little bunch already cut off here. There we go. I'm just gonna stack those quick. It was stacked, but I kind of dropped them everywhere, so we're just gonna restack these. Get into my belly. Yeah, he was saying something about that too. Like, I mean, as long as his family's doing okay and he's doing okay, it's all good. I mean, he'll come back at some point. I just miss his stuff. I really like his, So you're not talking about Brian then, obviously. I thought you were talking about Brian, like Ty's Flies, Brian Smith. Who are you talking about then? Sorry, it must be a different person I'm not familiar with. Flying Ties? That must be a totally different person though. Really? Cool. Yeah, woolly worms are just good for all sorts of stuff. They're excellent little buggers to have in your box. They imitate so many different things, from like leeches to caddis to dragonfly nymphs, and you know, all sorts of food chain stuff. So the fish will just tear them up because. Okay, sorry, I just assumed. Obviously, they have similar names. Okay, so we're gonna go full length of the shank there, back for the tail, and do a soft wrap to hold it up top. In theory, this is gonna be a lot springier than the bear here for sure. So I'm gonna try my best not to get this to go sproing by throwing a lot of soft wraps on it. And just take my time getting it tied in. Yeah, you know, that's not too bad. That's a little more out there than I'd want, but we'll try and see if it'll settle down. I'll do some softer wraps on it, see if I can tame it down a little bit. But this is very, very, very springy whitetail. Hey, how's it going? Good to have you in, Luca. Hey, you know something I learned today? Not that I want to get into political war stuff, but since Luke is in here, I wanted to mention it to him. The US's new version of the Shahed drone is actually called the Luca, which I thought was hilarious, where it's like low cost or low But yeah, that's actually like its nickname is the Luca, and I just like ha. And I can't remember the full acronym, but it's something like low cost artillery something something. But I thought that was funny. Okay, so I'm gonna cut those off. We want to cut it off at halfway point here. Hey, thanks, Luca. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I'm actually getting a bonus for until May. I was gonna do a community post on it, but I don't want to sound like I'm asking for donations or whatever. But yeah, exactly. I thought it was funny. Like, you know, it's one of those things that you're not necessarily proud of, but it's still kind of cool, right? But yeah, YouTube sent me an email this morning, and they're giving me an extra bonus 50% on any live chat, gifts, super chats, all that stuff until the end of May, because they have the new rollout in Canada for the gems. Because we were gemless until last or 2 weeks ago. So if I get any of that stuff, I will get a bonus 50% sent to my account, which is cool. So. Okay, so now we're gonna tie in our. I guess we'll have to tie in our peacock first. Let me get some because I don't have any out. I'm assuming should I go with 2 or 3? What do you think, Oregon? You normally go with 2 or 3 pearls. I'm thinking at least 2, probably 3. Dude, Luca, what are you doing, man? I appreciate it. We don't have to go overboard. Thank you, though. There you go. That's an extra $5 in my pocket on top of the donation. I thoroughly appreciate that, man. Okay, I'm gonna fight with these for a second here. Let's get those out. Yeah, that's kind of a junky one. Okay, let's try and get another one out. Yeah, I think that's cool. I don't like. I want to post so people know, but I don't want to sound like, you know, give me donos. But I want to find a acceptable way to let people know without, you know, sounding like, hey, I get this bonus. Give me your monies. But you know, a lot of people do want to know that their donations are going to the creator and they're getting a bonus, which is cool. And I would like to think that maybe the YouTube algorithm gods would maybe provide more views or something. Who knows? That part's probably wishful thinking. Okay, so I'm gonna tie in like 4 of these because they're kind of not the best hurls in the world, but I think they'll do this. Yeah, it's just one of those, hey, there we go. Awesome, Muddy got it. Good for you, Muddy. Thanks, Yoshi. That's really awesome. I appreciate that, man. Thank you, Yoshi. And thanks, Luca. You're going overboard, mate. Wow, Yoshi, I can't even tie in my body material without you doing something else. Hey, there you go. That's cool. I mean, talk about random stuff happening for a good reason there. That's awesome, Luca. You just became a member. Way to go. Thanks, Yoshi. Man, that makes me happy. Good for you, Luca. You deserve it, man. I wish there was a way for me to give out memberships to specific members. Like, that would be cool if they added that feature. Um, where I could like take it from the channel revenue or something and then give it out. That would be a cool feature. I wonder why they haven't done that. Because other than directly buying it, you can only give out the randoms, right? But either way, that's cool. Those turned out real well. Got Oregon and Luca in there. That's awesome. I'm definitely going to have to do some member-only content now. Or some more member-only content. Actually, hold on. What am I doing? I'm getting over it. I do, and like I was actually starting to talk on, my desk has a hole in the back of it, like it's just not flat against the wall because it's got my monitor and stuff on it. And there's a half a foot gap between the back of my desk and the wall, and stuff likes to fall in the hole, and I need to put a board over it or fix it or something. So that doesn't happen. And yeah, my Zappa gap fell behind there yesterday, and it was like, oh, there goes the super glue. Yeah, like I said, it's behind my desk right now, or would. I can throw a little head cement on though. I have that. We'll put a little head cement and give it a second to set. Yeah, my Zappa gap slash super glue fell behind my desk yesterday, and it's gonna live back there until I move the desk. If it's metal and it falls behind the desk, I got like a magnet on a string, and I can swing it down there and pull stuff back up. But if it's non-magnetic, like the super glue, then I gotta move my whole desk to get it out, and that's a real pain with all of my wires and filming equipment and everything I gotta move. Yeah, a slight thing of glue on there is not a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, it's been a problem. I know it's been a problem, and I just need to fix it, and I will. I just haven't got to it. When the weather's a little better, I'll be able to use the deck and move some stuff out there. Yeah, and it's like, it's not that big of a hole, but it's just big enough, like you said, to eat things, right? And I just want to put a board back there. And unfortunately, the bottom of my desk is all boarded up, so that's the other thing, is when I take the desk out, I'm going to take it outside, cut the bottom of my desk off so I got like a gap yay high so I can pull stuff out. Yeah, I still can't get much down there, and I got to get all the cablings all down there from the monitor and the backup power supply and everything. Oh, that's an excellent idea. Yeah, a pool noodle. That would probably work really well. Thank you. Dude, that's an excellent idea. That would probably work excellent. And I have like extra pool noodles. I'll try and find one that's not like fluorescent orange or something though, but it really doesn't matter if it's behind the desk. Then it's only going to fall down like 2 inches or something. I can pick it up. I still got to get everything out of there that's fallen down there. I lost my glasses down there for like a week. I finally got them back because the metal case is magnetic and I could grab it with the magnet. But that was annoying. I was like, oh great, now I can't see. You think, is it gonna be Ewoos next if you give another gifty? I'd like to see Ewoos get one. I'd like to see Rob get one. Rob puts in a lot of work for me and everyone else too. Rob actually was already a member anyway, so that wouldn't happen. Never mind. Ewoos would be second. Okay, so we're gonna clean this out. I probably got too much here, but if I do, then I'll have some tail material for next time. But I feel like we're gonna be cleaning a lot of gunk out of this. As you can see, there's a lot in there. So it should thin out by the time we're done cleaning it. all the gear and no idea. That's a cool name, but I'm not sure who that is. Anyone else know who that is? I do like the name though, I will submit that. Well, you tried, man. Sorry, he was. Like I said, if I could give people memberships, that would be cool. If I could, then we could have like little raffly things or whatever, But I don't know of any way to actually do that. But that would be a really cool feature. They should really look into doing that. Where do I get my what hair? My walk hair. Do you mean deer hair? Sorry, mate, I'm not understanding. I do not know what the walk hair. Sorry, I'm just cleaning this out. It's really messy. Trying to get all this under fur out without destroying it. Sorry, Ethan, I don't know what you're referring to there. I must have missed some. I apologize. Elk hair, ha ha. This is an elk. I don't have much for elk, but I have lots of deer. I don't use a lot of elk. This elk or this deer specifically is from Magpie Materials, and it's a nice Appalachia whitetail. The different with the Appalachia whitetails, it has this nice kind of straw white or straw light tips to it. Give me a second. I'm gonna do this without. I'm gonna try not to drop this bundle while I do this. But if I can reach my supply over there, I'll grab it. 1 second. There we go. Okay. That's all good. So this guy here, Magpie Materials. His name is Stefan. Look him up on the internets. Yeah, like if you can get, so most of your deer hair is going to look like this. And this is generally my preference anyway, but you can see how it's got these nice like black tips compared to that like, well, you can see it here for how much lighter that is on the tail there. So most of your deer hair is going to look like this. Unless you're going with belly hair, and it's going to be lighter. But the Appalachia whitetail has those nice little, like a straw color. Like here's another piece of it, and this one's even more strawy, so it's got even more white to the tips than that other piece. But the majority of whitetail is going to have those black tips, and for a lot of patterns, I do like the black tips. Because they're very buggy, right? They end in a nice termination and black, and it's a good contrast. The white tips are really nice when you want to have like a light colored dry fly like this one, or a caddis. Really? Okay, so we're gonna stack this now that I got this like, kind of semi cleaned up. We'll stack that and turn that into a hump. And if you're tying in tails and this kind of thing, to be honest, the mule deer is actually a better mule deer or elk, not cow, but elk male is a little bit better for tails and structural stuff on the fly because it doesn't poof as much as this. The whitetail, especially the Appalachia stuff, it's super straw-like and it likes to poof like that, which is great if you're trying to create a poof in the front, like on a stimulator or a muddler minnow or something where you're trying to spin the deer hair. It's excellent for that. The cow elk is a little bit lighter. No, it's all good. It's probably good that they have limits like that, because if someone's account gets hacked, you don't want to, have someone just donoing like crazy on your account. So I'm sure they probably have some kind of limits in place. I thoroughly appreciate that, Yuta. I appreciate both of you, I really do. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm hoping I can get the watch hours this month. I'm so close again. Just have a couple hundred hours left. Keep getting to like 3,800 and then knocking back down, because I'll have a really good video from last year that'll end its cycle, right? Because it's a 365-day loop. So I'm pushing really hard for that. But we're on our way. It's working out real well so far. Just gotta get all these short guys out of here. Yeah, Luke is awesome. He's always been awesome. And not just with my channel here, but everyone's channel, Any channel that's a decent channel knows who Luke is. Okay, so we're gonna go just past that tail here. Like so. And I'm gonna transfer over to this one. You don't really repost it. It's the watch hours you have from the last 365 days. So for instance, if I have a good video 367 days ago, all that watch hours is gone from that video. So in this case, like I've had some videos that have timed out, that a single video had like 400 watch hours or more. So it's like I'm so close to the 3,800, and then poof, it just drops like a stone again. So it's kind of like running on a treadmill. Do really good, and then it drops back. Do really good, and it drops back. But it's a funny thing, because it's like you're fighting yourself. There you go, Luke. Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. You're a hard worker. I find it hilarious that you're like moving cattle around while watching me tie flies. That's hilarious. That just tickles me pink. Okay, so we're gonna take this nicely cut up bundle here, and we're gonna tie it in right at our halfway point. I feel like I got too much in there, but I'm kind of curious to see if too much is gonna be a problem. Excuse me, sorry, I almost ripped the tail off of that cough there. That's bad. Let's get this back up on top here where we need it. Hey, later, Ethan. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Always a pleasure, man. That's why I gave Luca the cow avatar. I think it suits him. Okay, so we're gonna tie that in. Oh, this is gonna be a thick boy. I might have a little bit much in there, but we're gonna go with it. I'm curious to see what it's gonna turn out like, if it's just gonna be a disaster or not, because I normally go a bit on the shallow side. But risk nothing, try nothing. Oh, cool! Yeah, I watched some of Cindy the other day. That's cool. I didn't know you were tying jigs for Cindy. I don't watch her as much as I'd like to, but I do. She's on there like, I don't want to say constantly, but she's on there a lot. Good for you, Luke. That's cool. There you go. Now, Rob's fighting some food poisoning now, and it's like I missed his live stream kind of for the similar reason. My kids didn't have food poisoning; they were just sick, like just like a regular old, cold, right? But I feel them. Sucks to be sick. Hey, this is all Oregon's fault, and we're gonna have a peacock humpy now. Which seems like a really cool idea. I don't know why that ever even crossed my mind. I've seen them in green, like chartreuse green is like really common up here too. Especially in deeper water or colder water. That's cool. Thanks, Luca. I bet she appreciates that. She puts the work in too. I mean, she's one of those, right? She puts a lot of work in. And she's always happy. Like, she's always got a smile on, even if things aren't going her way or the fish aren't biting or whatever, you know? That happens. It happens to all of us. Okay. Yeah, I haven't caught much of Silly's stuff. I've seen he's actually seems to be on the lives and posting a bit more than he was for a little while there with all the troubles he was going through like a month or so ago, 2 months ago now. Maybe it's been a bit longer. Yeah, I'm glad to see he's back at it. And him and his girl are back together and all that good stuff. Glow in the dark stuff's really cool too, Yoshi. And that'll probably help her out because she's, she's almost always night fishing, right? Or a good chunk of it is night fishing for her. So I'm imagining that yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm liking the peacock. It's gonna be so buggy. It's gonna look like a big old beetle. Now the trick here is gonna be to get this tail, like with the other one I had a different tail material. So with this one, just thinking of the best angle of attack on this because the tail's all mixed in there now. Yeah, true. I'm just glad he's doing better in general. I'm gonna try flattening this out like this, and then just grabbing the tips and see if that'll let me get the tail material up. I think I got it. It looks like I got it. There's going to be some longer ones. These are going to be too short to tie back anyway. So we'll nip those off after. Stay in my vise. Just trying to tighten up the hump there. I get a nice tight hump that makes me happy. Now, I'm losing a lot of fur off the back, but we've got a lot here to work with, so I'm not terribly worried about it. It's one of those mental things where you're like, it's losing it, Captain. Try a couple routes to see if I got that tight enough. I might have to redo that, but we'll see. Oh, that looks okay. Keep going. Okay, yeah, we'll just nip out these longer ones here. There. Dude, yeah, that looks good. Look at that bugger. Man, that's like a fat little floaty beetle. That's gonna slay things. Dang. That was such a cool idea. Thanks, Oregon. I don't know why I don't see him like this up here. I'm gonna have to try this. Like I said, I see the chartreuse ones all the time, but I'm not sure why peacock wasn't a thing. Should be. That looks really buggy. Yeah, that's a bet I will take. Because it looks buggy as all get out. Yeah, exactly. When we get June bugs up here, I bet that would just like popping on the water with that green sticking through. Oh, kind of mucking up my. Come on now. Focus, Nimby. Getting distracted from the fly. I got one sticking forward here I'm going to take out just so it doesn't become an issue. I need to find my other tweezers. Stardust did comment on it, but there's a type of Revlon tweezers. They're typically black, but I've seen them in blue too, but they have like a diamond like on the pads, they're dusted with like a diamond dust, and they stick like so sticky. Like you grab something with it. They're a little bit on the pricey side, but man do they ever grab stuff good. And I had a pair, but I don't know where they ended up. Probably in the behind my desk with everything else that's fallen back there. All right, let's get some hackle on this thing. I'm excited for this. Well, I thought that was going to be too much deer, but it actually made a real nice, like, thick cap. I'm actually kind of surprised how well that turned out. Stay. Okay, let's get some hackle. Actually, before I go digging the hackle, I'm going to finish my tea up here because I'm thirsty. That's a good thing to do before my fingers get all busy. Yeah, peacock Humpy. That was an excellent idea, Ren. Thank you for that. See, you can learn stuff anytime. Never stop learning about this hobby. I'll be 70, 80 years old and still be picking up new stuff. Okay, I got a nice, let's see here. Yeah, you look good. Let's take a big one here. Oh. There's really about there. Okay, and I'm just gonna trim this up and we'll get that tied in here in a second. Trying to get one of my stream windows dropped, so I got it back though. We're all good. Two out of 8 jigs done. Who are those ones you're doing up for? I wish there was like a way, like other than doing like a collab, which I do want to actually do at some point here when I'm set up for it. I'm not sure if I could collab with the way I got everything set up through OBS right now, but I'd like to find a way to do a collab and get that working. But in either case, I wish there was a way that we could, like, other than chat, have something going through like that. Like, that would be cool. Kind of mucked up the end, but that'll do. It's not gonna hurt nothing. Yeah, if I don't muck the tail up, I'm not paying attention to it. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're helping her out there. I got my 2 packages. I'm not going to hold them up because it's got their addresses on it, and I don't know if they want those public or not, but I got the 2 packages I need to resend for Rob and Glacier Shark. But it's nice to give people stuff like that. You know it's going to get used, right? Oh my god, I just tied it. I didn't even split my my hackle. Oh, I'm sure they'll work. No worries, K-Fish. Thanks for coming in, K-Fish Pro. Always good to have you in, mate. You have a good evening, eh? Okay. You know what? Going on this whole theme of doing things a little different, I think I'm not going to split that. I think I'm going to leave it as a big old forehead puff, so it'll like pop in the water, maybe? I think I'm going to do that. Because I forgot to tie it in, and we're going to just say that it was a happy accident. That's cool. That's one thing I gotta do this year is set up my, I'm humming and hawing on whether I want to reopen my Etsy or if I want to actually just open up a Shopify so I can do the YouTube Shopify stuff and start selling the flies and materials and things like that. That's cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people like Ruben and Turner were saying that they have people that literally will just take like first, for lack of a better way to say it, like first run or something on their jigs, and then just keep them in the bags and they just collect them. I don't know if it's more of a jig thing. Trying to walk my thread up without getting too close. Okay, I'm gonna have to put that hackle down. I need to get up closer to this wing before I bring it back. There we go. That'll work, pig. Yeah, Thunder. I haven't seen Thunder around in a while either, but I made a bunch for Thunder, and he was out fishing. He's like, "Oh, I don't want to use your flies though." I'm like, "Dude, just use my flies. I'll send you more." It was kind of the same thing. I was kind of like, "Dude, just use the flies. It's okay. I can make you more." But the same thing. He wanted to just keep them as keepsakes, which is cool too. I thoroughly like that. That makes me super happy. But you know, when you're actually out fishing and you got them with you, use them. I can make you more. I don't have any of Vilgrim's flies, but he did say he was going to send me some a while back, so I don't know if they just didn't make it or he didn't get around to it, but I would like to have some of his flies. Same with David. I'd like to have some of David's flies too. I really like I like David, well, I like everyone's flies, but they're all for like different reasons. Like David's just the chunky colors and patterns and stuff he throws together. Very, very like unique style. Same with like Run, has a very colorful, chunky, unique style that I really enjoy. And Vilgrim's is just like his own boat, you know. He's just doing his own thing, and I really like that. Yeah, I mean Adams is good. Not much not to like about the Adams. It's like probably the most fish dry fly, I would think. There you go. I'd like to actually get some of Turner's jigs to try now that he's got some stuff that's closer to what I can fish with here, like the worms, and he's got some other buggy patterns and stuff. Not that I can't use like actual jigs, it's just not. Yeah, Davy's just a nice guy in general. Like, let alone like his fly tying aside, he's just such a nice guy. Oh, okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of, because I know he was talking about it last time I was talking with him on the live, that he was going to send some, which I appreciate. I sent him some. Oh, it's been a long time now. If it wasn't for these stupid tariffs, I would send a lot more, but the tariffs are stupid. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is they don't like the feathers in the fur. Although if I send them regular letter mail, it doesn't seem to be an issue. Yeah, I'd like to send out so much more stuff than I'm able to. I'm hoping that these tariffs being knocked down a little bit will at least help with that. Cool. Stay. Sorry guys, just fighting with this hackle. I got a gob of stuff, like a whole box full of stuff I want to do for giveaways. I got fly lines, leaders, backing. I got 15 fly lines ready to go for giveaways. I got obviously gobs of flies, and I got gobs of just regular hooks like spinners, crankbaits, all new in the package, ready to go. It's just with all the shipping problems right now, I can't do it. Not right yet. Thankfully, none of that stuff goes bad, and I can give it out later when things settle down a bit. But it's frustrating. I was all ready to go, and then all that junk hit, and now I gotta wait. It's all good. We'll get there. It'll happen. Yeah, but I got a stack of like scientific angler floating line. Because to me, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to give out the floating line. Because with a lot of people, the barrier to entry for this hobby sport, whatever, is the fishing line, like the fly line. You can pick up an old fly rod at like a shop or whatever, pretty inexpensively. So the rods typically aren't that big of a barrier, but it's hard to get the lines and the backing, and no one's that hasn't done it before, is familiar with how to tie it up and set it up. So it's really intimidating for a lot of people. So I wanted to give out fly lines, like a full setup with the backing and the leader and everything, so it's ready to go. You literally just put it on a spool, go out there and look like a goof while you're trying to cast. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, and I thought that would help out a lot of people to get their feet wet. And now they're just sitting in a box, and it's really frustrating. And I sent flies to Rob, and I sent flies to Glacier Shark, and they got returned to me. I'd like to. But yeah, I sent flies out to Rob or Trudge on through, and I sent flies out to Glacier Shark or Devon, and like 3 weeks later I got them back in the mail saying that I didn't fill out the duty paperwork properly. I was like, oh my god. And it's not so much the dollar amounts that it costs to send the stuff, but it's just like the frustration with having to go through all the customs stuff and the duty stuff when you're just trying to give a gift away for free. Like, there's not like any profit involved. It's like you should just let it go through, but they won't. It's frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. I don't want to dwell on that. But I have the paperwork done. I did the paperwork up last night, so I have their I do a lot of casting, so I do fish a lot of like smaller crankbaits, and I'll fish some of the bigger stuff in the river. But it really it's a little more situational here. I have like my canoes and boats and stuff that I can fish them in, but a lot of times I'll do like a whole flasher setup, like a Ford Fender kind of thing, or a wedding or a willow leaf or something like that if I'm gonna be out deep in the boat. But I do, yeah. Just not as often as I'd like, probably. I got gobs of them. I just thought they'd be fun to, because a lot of the people that do watch the channel too, they don't necessarily fly fish, but they'll do a lot of, crankbait fishing or whatever. They just want to have something they can throw on a bait caster or a spinning rod and go have a good time. And just because it's not fly tying or fly fishing doesn't mean it's not something I want to help them enjoy, right? So, got a bunch of different stuff to give out, but that'll have to wait. Still there. It's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, just get some from the drugstore, the cheapy ones. Mine aren't for reading. I can read fine, and I see fine close up. I have issues with, I'm actually colorblind, so they help me with my colorblindness. But I have 20/20 vision. I can see fine. I just have trouble with eye strain from being colorblind, and they help with that. They also help with the eye strain from looking at the screens all day too. They got the blue light filter and all that jazz on them. Okay, so we got that tied in nice there. We're going to do the half hitch and call it good. That is a sweet little bug. I'm happy with that. Hey Villa, we were just talking about you, man. How you doing, mate? Oregon came up with this idea and have some, yeah, you got a whole long list of people to list off there, don't you? Got a whole crew in here today. Okay, this is Oregon's fault. He's the one to blame for this one. It's a peacock humpy, which I think is just a wicked freaking idea. I don't know why this isn't a staple up here. It should be, because it's cool. Cool. Look at that. Look at that buggy bugger. My underlight's not really hitting the belly as well as I'd like it to show off the belly. Let me see if I can angle it a little better. I do like that kind of single wing in the front, actually. That's kind of cool. I'm thinking that's going to help to like pop the water. That's pretty neat. Yeah, I'll throw a little head cement on that, do a spin and spiel here. And I've been going for close to 4 hours now, so I'm gonna have to take a break after this one, guys. Man, I'm actually getting to the point where I gotta like angle this to get the cement out. Almost used half a bottle up. I got several bottles on the desk there, so I'm not too worried. Little bit in the hackle there, but nothing too crazy. And I got a little bit in the head cement in there, so let's grab a LED lamp. Oh, LED lamp. LED. My stupid speaker bot does stuff with words sometimes. It's weird. Excuse me. Let me get some. Oh, no more tea. We're out of tea. Ah, that's how you know it's time to take a break. All right, I'm gonna spin this. Yeah, I got a natural light, like an aught light up top here. I have some LED filming lights below me, so that way you can see I'm kind of shading in there. So if I didn't have the LED light, it would look like that. But the LED light from the bottom lights the bottom of the fly, so when I'm tying, it doesn't leave shadows around the fly. It helps a lot with just making a better image for you guys, right? The trick is getting the lights all in a place so they're not. Unfortunately, they're all good for filming. They're not good for tying because they're shining like directly at my eyeballs because I got to go into the camera, right? So having them set up so they're not super annoying, but they're still useful for tying and filming has been a bit of a trip to get them all set up properly. Yeah, I'm happy with that guy though. Look at him. Thanks, Oregon. That thing is awesome. Little fat little beetle bug. That totally looks like a June bug or a mate. What is it, June bug? Yeah, June bug. Yeah, I'm excited for that. That's gonna be cool. Yeah, I do a little spin and spill here, guys. And in the vise today, we have a ostrich. Blah blah blah. Okay, let's start that over. My brain just completely shut off. One more second. And in the vise today, we have a. Why can't I make the words with the thing? What is this? I want to keep saying ostrich, but it's not ostrich. Peacock. Ah. Okay, one more time. And the vise today we have a peacock humpy. This was suggested to us by Oregon Fishing. If you're not subscribed to his channel, go check him out. He's got awesome ideas like this peacock humpy. Look at this buggy little thing. Totally looks like a mayfly. It's all get out buggy and dirty and just wonderful. I'm super excited to try this. It's gonna float like a cork and it's gonna push water up front that is just gonna drive trout nuts. I'm super happy to try this out. It's just like the other humpies we did in red, but that green peacock body right there, shining through the bottom in the water, that's just going to drive them nuts. I'm super happy to try this out. Thanks, Oregon. Definitely add a couple of these to your box. A wonderful little pattern. Hi, we're back. Sorry, it took me a couple of goes. I'm tired. I had like, what are we up to now? We're at 4 hours on this stream. I did 2.5 hours on the other stream. Almost at 8 hours. I guess we're at like 7 hours, so got a couple more hours to go. We'll take a break here and I can get some food and whatnot. But yeah, it's a wonderful little thing, isn't it? Look at that underneath there. I know my lights aren't doing it justice. It's way more shiny green than it looks like. But yeah, stream's been going good. I've been thoroughly enjoying myself. You guys have been excellent tonight. I don't want to drop off, but like I said, it's been 4 hours now. I need a break. My hands are getting cramping up and everything, and yeah, just need a break. We'll be back later. You guys have been awesome. Yoshi, Luca, thank you guys for all the donos. I really do thoroughly appreciate it. Honestly, from me, man, you guys, it keeps me going some days when this is hard to do. And it really helps to just keep things going, right? Yeah, exactly, PNW. But yeah, thanks, Vilgrim. Sorry, man, you popped in right when we were coming out, but it was good to see you. Luca, Muddy, Yoshi. Yeah, maybe I will one day. This thing's a tank, though. It's got like actual bearings in it and stuff. I don't think I'd actually wear it out, but I could, maybe. Yeah, later, wee man. Who else did I get here? Oregon, of course. I got Muddy, we got Yoshi. Valhalla's gone, but saying hi to him anyway. Who else do we have today? Wow, we had so many people in today. Ethan's Lures. K-Fish Pro. Oh, God, I know I'm missing some of you. I'm so sorry if I am. Ewas! Jeez, almost missed Ewas. Wow, there's been so many people in today. We had such a really good stream. Okay, if I'm missing anyone, I thoroughly apologize. I can't scroll up that high. The stream's cut off. Okay, I appreciate everyone. Have a good one. Thanks for joining me. It was a great stream. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. And we'll see you on the next one. Oh, and Run just has to drop in. Dude, check this out before we go. Look at this Humpy. Isn't this thing cool? Look at this buggy little bugger. Isn't he sweet? That was Oregon's idea to throw the peacock in under there. What a cool little thing, eh? I gotta do more interactive tying with you guys because they always turn out really cool and I really enjoy myself. We should do this more often. I really gotta go though. My hands are completely cramped up and I need food, more tea, and caffeine. And we'll get back at this another time here. Thanks all.